Xbox On. Welcome to Xbox On, a podcast with one host about one console, Xbox. I'm said host Jesse DeRosa, and on today's episode, we talk about the latest Xbox news for the week of September 26, 2024, including new third-party data suggests Xbox hardware sales are far behind PlayStation 5. We got a handful of exciting announcements during PlayStation's live event this week. Assassin's Creed Shadows has been delayed to next year, and more. On this week in Xbox history, in the year 2009, 15 years ago, Halo 3 ODST was released for the Xbox 360. I distinctly remember the day this game came out being so jealous because all my friends at school were getting it and I did not have enough money saved up to get my hands on this game. And I remember trying to coerce Cronky into lending me his GameStop store credit so that we could get it. And then kind of feeling guilty about it later because I was basically just trying to spend his money so I could play Halo DST. Those are simpler times back then. I'm not this is one of the true blessings of being an adult with disposable income is not having to sweat it, about, God, how am I going to get that next game? When you're an adult, it's just I want to play the new game, $60, $70, sometimes $50 or $40. It's a trivial amount of money in the grand scheme of things when you're talking about what you can get in this world for 60, 70 bucks. It's just so funny to think about it now. It's obviously you can't buy every game you want. You got to budget your funds somehow. But I don't know, as a working class adult, it's not too unreasonable to be that new Halo game coming out, I'm going to buy that day one, not have to worry about it. But yeah, but it's always such a double-edged sword thing. Cause it's the pro new Halo game comes out, I'm buying that shit day one. Don't got to worry about it. The con, I don't appreciate anything as much today as I did when I was a kid because goddamn was it special to get your hands on a new Halo game. And nowadays it's I'm excited about the new Halo game, but nothing hits as good as it did when you were a kid. And that's not because of the game or anything. It's just because being an adult is insufferable. But good times. Obviously Halo 3, ODST. Everyone loves it. Firefight, introduction of firefight mode. Probably the best version of firefight mode, although, hot take, I kind of like Halo 5's firefight. I don't like it better because I think Halo 5's firefight mode shouldn't be called firefight. Technically it's Warzone firefight, which is completely different, but I enjoy that mode a ton. But I think ODST had better firefight than Reach did, and I don't care if that's a controversial take. I don't know. Every Halo game does a totally different interpretation of firefight. You notice that? Which ones so ODST, Reach, 5... and Infinite have had firefight. I think 4 skipped that mode completely, right? Because Spartan Ops. So, yeah, those are the only 4 times we've ever gotten it. In every game, it's always been a completely reimagined mode. Why are they so afraid of just doing more firefight? That's like if COD Zombies was a total reimagining of the mode every single Call of Duty, although that's kind of a bad example because these days it is, but that's not historically how that, whatever. Who gives a shit? Guys, Halo ODST, if you've never played that game, you're a fucking moron. If you've never listened to the soundtrack, more importantly, if you've never listened to the soundtrack, you're a fucking moron. So, happy birthday, Halo 3 ODST. You're old enough to be 15, which means, I don't know, how old was I when ODST came out? 2009? Fuck, man. I was 13, 14? 14? Yeah. Anyway. Welcome to Xbox On, everybody. We have a comment that kind of ties into that. Not Halo, but the nostalgia factor. We'll get into that later. We got a lot of comments. Last week was one of those, the title of the podcast hit the YouTube algorithm. And so we got double, triple the amount of YouTube views we'd normally get, which basically just means a bunch of people who don't listen to the podcast, have no intention of listening to the podcast, will never listen to the podcast again, found the podcast last week, saw the title of the episode, clicked on it, left a nasty comment with no intention of ever actually hearing out anything we had to say on the show, and then moving on about their business, probably to go watch fucking pornographic content and to off themselves in their 1998 red Mustang. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. Let's move on, guys. All right, so this week, what do we got here? Oh, notable game releases. You guys, open the Xbox on. No intro comment from anyone really this week. Just nothing fit here, so we'll get to all the comments later in the show. But yeah, let's start with our notable game releases of the week, of which we have a handful. There's a couple I left out because I don't know, I had to pick and choose, whatever. Start off with Ara History Untold. It's available as the time you listen to this podcast. One of the big Xbox Game Studios published titles this fall. This is, of course, the Oxide Games developed grand strategy RTS style game. That is, well, it's a Game Pass title. It's for PC. This isn't on console, is it? I keep forgetting if this one's on console. I'll be honest, guys. I couldn't possibly care any less about this game. Is this on? Oh. Yeah, it's only on PC. I'm just. Here's the thing. I'm a fan of Xbox, but in order to be a real fan, you just gotta be honest about what you like and what you don't like. It wouldn't be realistic or possible for me to just be a fan of everything Xbox is involved with. That's not a fan. That's just like that's just a blind allegiance. And so, if I'm just being completely honest, this game, it does nothing for me. If this was a game by any other team, if it was published by any other entity, if it was exclusive to any other platform, I wouldn't give a shit about it. And I certainly don't give a shit about it being an Xbox game. It's not to say it's not a great game. I'm sure it's a wonderful game. Looks like it's getting solid reviews. And it's just too niche for me. It's just not my type of thing. And it's just, yeah, I can't feign excitement. So, Ara History Untold, notable. It's one of the big Xbox marketable games for the year. It's one of their big games coming out. I got nothing to say. I still haven't even played not Age of Empires. What the fuck is it called? Age of Mythology. I haven't even gotten to that one yet, and that one's still installed on my Series S upstairs. So I don't fucking know. All I gotta say is Ara History Untold. If you're looking for this game, it's a great week for you. It's out. Go play it. Bye. PC Game Pass, or you can buy it on Steam. Whatever you gotta go do. Go play it. Next up, Beyond Galaxy Land. I've never heard of this game, but it is out this week. It's out now. I just saw it on the Xbox Wire and watched a trailer for it, and the game looks pretty cool. So I just wanted to give it a little shout out. Looks like some United Label. Well, that might be the publishing arm. I'm not sure who the developer is, but this is a really cool looking indie 2.5D adventure RPG game. Inspired by classic sci-fi movies. This is an intergalactic 2.5D adventure RPG set among the stars. Step into the sneakers of a high schooler as he's whisked away to Galaxy Land, a zoo-like solar system of planets on an epic quest to save Earth itself. I like the art style for this game a lot, and I don't know, the box art and the music and the trailer kind of won me over. It has like a whimsy and a charm to it. It's like one of those games where if I was 13 years old playing on Xbox 360 with a lot of free time and not enough games to play, this game would really speak to me and I'd want to give it a go. But with like 40,000 games at my disposal that I already knew about that I'm trying to play, I just can't fit this one in. But it does look really cool, so I just want to give it its props, its flowers there. Next up, Disney Epic Mickey Rebrushed. So this is the HD console port. This is the new remastered, upgraded version of Epic Mickey, which was originally a Nintendo Wii exclusive when it came out in, I don't know, 2010. When was that? 2010, I think. I remember I had that game. I played maybe an hour of it and thought it was like a little obtuse with how, I don't know what it was about the game where it's like I wanted to love it. It's a Mickey Mouse platformer game made by, the guy that created Deus Ex. Like, this is, what's his name, Warren Spector. Like, this should be a pretty good game, pretty notable game, and it does have good reviews. It does have a decent amount of respect. It was a pretty notable game when it came out, but for some reason this game didn't do it for me the first time around. I do want to give it another try with this rebrushed edition, but for $50-$60, whatever they're charging for, I'm like, I'll just wait for it to be on like a $20 sale one day, maybe next summer or something, and give it a go then. But it looks good. I haven't really seen what the reception is, if they've made good quality of life improvements or if the game's any better this time around. I don't know. I know all I remember is people liked the first one and the second one, not so much, but oh well. So Disney Epic Mickey rebrushes out. And then finally, another really important one, yet one I'm also just not giving any fucks about because soccer. EA Sports FC 25. Obviously, this is one of the biggest games of the year every year formerly known as FIFA, this game will sell shit tons of copies and be super important to all the many Europeans, South Americans, Africans, people not in North America. Well, actually, I should be more specific. People not in the U.S. and Canada, all around the world, will be very excited about this game because in the U.S. and Canada, we're concerned with real sports like football, baseball, and hockey, and basketball, frankly. So, soccer, please go find some fucking balls to kick around and tell yourself you're a real sport. We'll continue to dominate the advertising space with our legitimate sports. Of course, I say that facetiously to all my friends in the UK and in Europe and other places who occasionally get a little butthurt with my comments. I love you. Just being silly, just being goofy. When I was a child and my parents coerced me into doing recreational sports, as most young children get coerced into, I did 7 years of Little League soccer, and I loved it. I looked forward to it every year. I always did it every spring, every fall. Enjoyed it quite a bit. It was a great opportunity for me as a kid to get some exercise, make some friends, learn the value of teamwork and all that bullshit. No disrespect to soccer. It's just the most boring sport I can think of to watch on TV. Anyway, guys, that's it for all of our games coming out this week. Welcome to Xbox On. I'm excited to be here with you all today. A little bit of an odd roundup of news. We got a decent amount of things to get to. It's just like, I feel like lately so much of our Xbox news has been like PlayStation news that is relevant to Xbox. And this week we're going to have a decent amount of that. But we do have a decent amount of Xbox specific news as well. And I'm feeling good about games. I'm excited to play games. I just got back from a trip. So this past weekend, spoiler alert for what I've been playing, I didn't get to play shit. I didn't get to do anything. So I'm really excited this weekend. You know, we're supposed to have a tropical storm here in Central Florida. So it's perfect combination of like, it's not really terrifying or life-threatening, but it's also a great opportunity to just stay home and not have a reason to go anywhere. So I'm really looking forward this weekend to just playing video games. I have everything laid out. I know what I want to play. Feeling good. I'm just one of those moods where it's like it's a good time to have a couch for your butt and a controller for your Xbox. Let's start off with our... Oh, we do have one correction/update story. Don't we? Do we? Double check here. Yeah, we got 2. Okay, let's just run through this. No, this is not supposed to be here. That's why. Let me skip that one. So one correction update story. So as we all know, earlier in the year, Microsoft announced, April it was, that Tango Gameworks was one of 4 Bethesda developers that would be getting shut down, and the studio closed its doors in June, seemingly forever, but in a Disney Infinity/WB Games-like move with Avalanche Studios, we had a similar echoing of that kind of move happening when Krafton, the publisher behind PUBG and Callisto Protocol, swooped in and purchased Tango Gameworks from Microsoft and saved the team, basically. And so we talked about that 2 or 3 weeks ago. And now we're getting an additional interview with some more information that I think you guys might find a little interesting. So CEO of Krafton says that the acquisition of the studio was designed to add more creativity to the publisher's portfolio rather than to bring in the big bucks. So in an interview with game developer I'm gonna fuck this up. I'm sorry. Chong Han Kim has explained that his decision to acquire Tango wasn't a financial one, but a creative one rather, and that having Tango's developers on board would lead to greater variety of games, even if they didn't make a fortune. He says, "Quote: We wanted to maintain their legacy. Although they did not have a big success in their games, we saw many creatives worth pursuing, and that's why we wanted to work with that organization." Because the move is still being finalized, Kim was not able to publicly say how much the acquisition cost them. Simply, he just said that it was not too expensive nor too cheap. However, he reiterated that the money wasn't the driving factor for the deal and stressed that the studio's future games didn't make money, and that that even if the studio's future games don't make money, he wants them to take risks and push innovative ideas without the fear of being punished by failure. Quote: "We can't acquire Tango Gameworks based on their financials or their numbers, right? We don't think Hi-Fi Rush 2 is going to make us any money, to be frank, but it's part of our attempt. We have to keep trying to develop games in the spirit of challenge taking." So just stop right there. Clearly, right there, he's announcing we're gonna let these guys make a Hi-Fi Rush 2, which tells you that they probably got the Hi-Fi Rush or rights to make Hi-Fi Rush, maybe access to the IP from Microsoft. Maybe Microsoft owns the IP and they're licensing it out. Maybe Microsoft relinquished the IP. I don't remember if we talked about them. I think they said that was one of the things they got from the acquisition. I just can't remember, to be completely honest, but it looks like they're basically flat out announcing we're going to let them get to work on a Hi-Fi Rush too. So it seems like a Hi-Fi Rush sequel is all but confirmed now. But continuing on with this quote, Mr. Kim says, Tango Gameworks are creative. They want to try something new and they want to be more, and we want to do more of that. Making video games is really a hit or miss industry, and taking this big risk, but having more project lineups is actually a way of mitigating risks because one of them might work out. Kim added that even if Tango's future projects fail to make money, if they continue to be allowed to take risks and try new things, they could eventually hit a large success. He says, quote, just recoup the production cost, please. That's all I have to say. But in and of itself, it is a pretty big challenge. If you don't want to try that, you might actually land a big hit. I don't trust people who say, oh, this game is going to be a hit. I want something that we can try, something that is new. The big hits shouldn't be your goal. If that's the way you think, Hi-Fi Rush might have brought in a little bit of money. Hi-Fi Rush might have brought in a little bit of a minus in terms of the financials, but it's a team that should be encouraged to create something new and continue their journey. We want to have more teams like that under our umbrella. Kim also confirmed that the acquisition includes just the Hi-Fi Rush IP and not others like Evil. Well, there's your answer. So they have the Hi-Fi Rush IP, but they did not get Evil Within, Ghostwire Tokyo, or anything like that because they said it would be too complicated to deal with, which is interesting because they already published horror games with Callisto Protocol, but they didn't get the horror IP. They left that with Microsoft, but they did get Hi-Fi Rush, which is arguably the only IP they had that was truly valuable. So that's very interesting. Quote, we wanted to help the team continue to develop their games, but especially Hi-Fi Rush. When I think about our fans, I think what they really care about is a sequel for Hi-Fi Rush. So big takeaway here. Hi-Fi Rush 2 confirmed. That's exciting, right? Second takeaway, I think this is because Krafton, remember, these were formerly the PUBG Corporation was their publishing name originally, before they shifted and said, we want to expand beyond PUBG. So now we're Krafton and we have the PUBG team and we have Striking Distance and we have, some other teams. So they acquired, what Japanese team did they recently? Who gives a shit? They're starting to spread their seed and diversify their portfolio, a little bit of an anchor in the US and Korea where they're from, and now in Japan as well. So it's cool to see that happening. I think what this comes down to is, listen, Microsoft got put under the knife when the acquisition of Activision went through, and Phil Spencer and the higher-ups at Xbox were basically forced to tighten things up and save some dollars this year because now people with power higher up, investors, higher ups at Microsoft, etc., are looking at Xbox and saying, we need to make this thing make business sense, figure out something to do. We got to cut costs here and there, figure something out. And that's how Microsoft, a company that has seemingly endless funds, had to make difficult decisions to shut down teams like Tango Gameworks. However, you look at a game or a publishing arm like Krafton, obviously they're nowhere near even remotely as close to being as wealthy and well off as a company like Microsoft, but they're well off. They are the PUBG guys. PUBG is a game that has made a fuck ton of money, so they're pretty well floated with cash, well flushed with cash, but they're in a little bit of a different situation where if they want to pivot and continue to be successful and continue to grow, they need to invest. And that's why they're spreading their investment money with different development teams on different continents with very different portfolios of games, because they're trying to move things around and invest in some like medium-sized teams and medium-sized game projects and find something that sticks and something that's successful. And in order for them to establish themselves as a serious video game publisher and establish themselves as a serious player in the space, they need to hit with something. And Hi-Fi Rush is a game that probably made a little bit of a profit, but nothing special, or kind of broke even, which is something you can afford to do when you're kind of a startup with money trying to make it in the long run. That's your midterm plan or more, is to kind of become a notable publisher. You want to invest in teams like this because having something like Hi-Fi Rush under your belt is going to garner a lot of goodwill and attention towards your publisher, towards your development team, towards your brand. And so that's why it's a good idea to invest in a team like Tango. Whereas for Microsoft, it didn't make business sense to keep them around because they need companies that are going to bring big profits. And that's just a unfortunate reality of a big company investing big money in games, betting the farm and hoping that it pans out and that they make money off of Call of Duty and Halo and big games like that. You can't afford to have these little critical darlings but commercial failures like Tango Gameworks titles have been historically. But if you're Krafton and you can buy yourself some time because you really don't have any other choice, you don't have to fund projects like Call of Duty and Halo, and you don't have any expectation or really anything else to lean on aside from PUBG, which is, seemingly always dropping in relevancy. You got to be a little more patient and give some more time and attention to the various different, I don't know how to put it, different seeds that may blossom into something super lucrative and super important for you. So it's an interesting way of seeing how, the one man's trash is another man's treasure kind of thing, where it puts into perspective. Tango Gameworks, they're not a bad developer. They make good games. And their games aren't complete financial bombs and failures. It's just, not what a company like Microsoft needs and can't really justify keeping them around. Whereas for a smaller, newer publisher with very little to their name, this is an opportunity, something that might blossom into something worthwhile in the long run. So you can see how, their place in the whole system and the whole industry didn't make sense for a company like Xbox or Microsoft. Kind of makes sense for Krafton. So it's cool to see that they get to live on another day. It's cool that we're getting another Hi-Fi Rush game. I'm just happy that the team gets to live on to see another day. But interesting update just to kind of see how that ended up playing out. Always a feel-good story, though, because I remember when Avalanche got saved by WB Games after Disney shut them down, I was like, fuck yeah, go make something great. And they made Hogwarts Legacy, and now Disney looked like a bunch of fucking idiots because they're incapable of making any video games. And the studio that they owned and let go is out there making one of the most popular, lucrative games of 2020. Fuck you, Disney. Bob Iger, you look so stupid right now. I bet you're looking in the mirror every night before bed, but after your dentist appointment that you have daily, and you're going, my teeth look amazing, but my decision-making skills as it pertains to video games are terrible. I hate myself, and I bet that's what he's doing. Probably tonight, Eastern time, baby. He lives in California. Anyway, guys, let's get into our mildly amusing stories, little appetizer stories. Let's get a little charcuterie going here. What do you say? You get that? What do you get? What do you get? Oh, I see you getting a fucking a last word cocktail, a little fucking classic cocktail there. Get a little charcuterie board. Get a variety of meats and cheeses and some of those small pickles that are usually just there for show, but someone's always bound to try one. I got like what we got here. So, jumping into our appetizer-esque, mildly amusing stories. Let's kick it off with this one here. Microsoft is discontinuing the Xbox Game Pass app. That's right. Game Pass is a fucking failure. You're an idiot if you thought Game Pass was profitable. So stupid. Go buy a PlayStation right now. Oh, wait. There's more to the story. All right. Xbox's September 2024 update is quite a biggie. And while we're not going to talk about most of it because I don't give a shit, there's one piece that's pretty relevant and pretty important. So Microsoft announced their plans to shut down the Xbox Game Pass mobile app starting in November, when downloads for the app will cease to be available. And this applies to both Google's Play Store and the fucking App Store on Apple, the Apple App Store. And I think the Xbox apps are also available on the Samsung App Store, because I'm pretty sure that's where I downloaded them for on my phone. I don't give a shit. Who knows? But anyway, starting in November, won't be able to download those apps anymore, or that app anymore, from these mobile app fronts. As a result, Xbox Game Pass's app features such as library, browsing, membership management, and all the rest will be shifted over, migrating over to the proper Xbox mobile app. So this is from Xbox officially, their announcement. They say, key features like the ability to explore Game Pass and manage your membership will now be found in one place on the Xbox app on mobile. You'll be able to browse the full Game Pass catalog and find your favorite games and stay in the loop with alerts, new games coming to the service. If you're a Game Pass Ultimate member, you'll also be able to view and claim your perks. As part of these changes, we'll no longer support new downloads of the Game Pass app beginning in November. Well, this sounds like good news to me. It was always weird and confusing that they had a separate, what it used to be called like Xbox Cloud Gaming or Project X Cloud, whatever was the app, and then it was the Game Pass app, and they've always had the Xbox app before that, and so now just merging everything into one convenient app is a great idea. Now, anyone who's ever used the Xbox app for Windows, God bless, it's not great. So let's just hope they're able to merge these two apps together in a way that is better than the two apps were on their own, independent of one another beforehand. Fingers crossed, but this sounds like a great idea. It sounds like they're just trying to integrate things more and more, because, I mean, simply, this is the case, man. Game Pass is integral to Xbox at this point. It's not going anywhere. If Game Pass goes somewhere, it means Xbox is going somewhere. So we need to just stop treating these things like separate entities. It's at this point, it's been a part of Xbox long enough that it's not like some fad or anything like that. It is the strategy for the brand going forward. And so it doesn't make sense to compartmentalize things. It makes sense to put everything in one place so that your Xbox users, regardless of whether or not they're ultimate tier subscribers or they're a lower tier subscriber or they're not a Game Pass subscriber at all, they're constantly inundated with this subscription service that you want everyone to be a part of, because it is the main feature and benefit of your ecosystem right now. That would be my guess. So I don't know. There's not too much to say about it. This is like kind of a no-brainer. Like, why didn't you do this sooner? Hopefully it works out. I just know they have a propensity to fuck up apps and things like that. It's so weird because Xbox is like the UI, the user interface, the OS and everything on Xbox hardware. Like, you boot up an Xbox, it's great. I know people like to bitch and moan about mild things. Like, I liked this version better. I thought this was a little prettier. Wish they moved this icon there. Whatever. Xbox is pretty fucking good. Like, the dashboard doesn't bother me at all. I feel like every time I boot up my Xbox, I'm like, this is completely usable. It's fast. It's snappy. I know where everything is. It works. It does what I need to. I love this. I like this. I'm happy with this. They don't have that track record with mobile apps and especially PC apps. So let's hope this is a really, really strong Xbox app when all is said and done. Although the current Xbox app, it ain't too bad. It's a little sluggish. It's not as good as it could be, but we'll see what they can pull off here. So that's interesting. All right, moving on. Xbox will be at Tokyo Game Show, TGS, doing their own broadcast on September 26th, which is, the day this podcast goes live. It will be actually taking place before this podcast even publishes, because Japan's in like their whole different time zone, being all Japanese on the different time. They're on a time spectrum, you could say. They're on a different spectrum than we are, and it's just a different time. So for us on the East Coast US, which is, I guess, where the majority of people live in this country, that's 6 a.m. So you might be getting up ready for work in that time. I don't know what you're doing. Maybe the kids are getting ready for school. Who gives a shit? 6 a.m. Eastern time, Xbox will be on stage in Tokyo being like, "Konnichiwa, we just fired the only Japanese developers we ever had. What's up, bitches?" And then Phil Spencer will put sunglasses on indoor and start lighting up a fucking cigarette, because it's Japan. You could smoke anywhere you want. So that's probably what's going to happen, but I don't know for sure. You can watch the event on social media channels, YouTube, all the rest. I don't know. Xbox, for the past handful of years, at least for as long as the Series X and S have been around, always try to make Tokyo Game Show out to be like this thing, like, oh, we're going to show up, we're going to support the Japanese market, Xbox gives a shit about Japan, and then you tune in and it's like, announcing a remake of this Japanese game that PlayStation's had for 47 years. Woo, it's coming to Xbox tonight. And it's like, all right, I don't care. Announcing Sega's still the only publisher from Japan that we have a good relationship with. Whoa, updates for Phantasy Star and Yakuza. It's like, all right, guys, it's cute. You keep trying. You keep doing that. I'm good. So I expect nothing from this showing, but hey, I'm always open to being surprised, pleasant surprise. I'll take it. Papa Phil, he says, what if he gets up on stage? He goes, "Konnichiwa, bitches. I fired your stupid people at Tango Gameworks because I have no respect for your stupid culture. But now we're going to make Halo for the Japan audience, but every time you play Halo in Japan, there will be a watermark of the U.S. flag, so you have to contend with our fucking country that nuclearly bombed you not once but twice, motherfuckers. Fuck you." And Phil Spencer will say all of that, and then it won't make it all the way over here to the U.S., so we won't know it happened, but then Phil Spencer will come back to California or fucking Washington or whatever, and he'll be like, "Yeah, we love Japan. Xbox loves Japan. Anyway, here's some more Western RPGs and strategy games for Americans to enjoy." And that's probably more or less what's going to happen if I had to guess. That's just my pundit hat if I'm wearing it. But I'm going to take off my pundit hat. We're going to move on to a different story. I'm now going to put on my little rainbow hat with a little spinny wheel that like the little kids wear, the little boys wear or whatever, with like the little pinwheel thing on it. because we're going to talk about Minecraft. So Mojang Studios announced this week a release date of October 22nd for a native PlayStation 5 version of Minecraft. Despite the fact that Xbox Series S and X do not have a native version of Minecraft. Because fuck Xbox people, I guess. So Microsoft's coming to PlayStation 5 natively. Now, it is important to note there have been updates to the Series X and S version that improve performance and the way the game looks and runs on Series S and X. But there's technically no native version. That is the Xbox One version of the game kind of bumped up for the new consoles. Whereas PlayStation is getting a whole native PS5 specific download for the game. So that's pretty fucking cool as Microsoft continues to just stab Xbox fans in the back. It'll support 4K resolution, 60 FPS on PS5 because PS5 Pro is about to be the best place to play Minecraft. That's what Xbox wants to send for messaging. They definitely care about consoles still. I don't know. I don't have anything to say to this. I understand it's like, this is more of an optics thing than anything. I'm sure the native PS5 version of Minecraft will look and run just as well, just as nice, just as goodly as the Xbox Series S and X version. However, it's still an optical L, a massive L, if you will, that, people can go on Twitter and say, I can't believe Xbox users have to play the Xbox One version of Minecraft when Xbox is the owner of Minecraft. Wow, you guys really don't care about your people as you're laying off Japanese people and laughing at it in front on stage at 6 a.m. Eastern time to a crowd of Japanese people. It's like, come on, guys. At least pretend like you care. At least pretend like there's a fight here, but there's not. So there you go. I don't have anything to say to that, but there is Minecraft news that I find quite exciting, and that is that the Transformers DLC by Cyclone Studios and Hasbro has officially launched on the Minecraft store, the Minecraft whatever store, content store, whatever they call it. It's a story-driven adventure that takes you on an adrenaline-fueled ride between Earth and Cybertron. So it costs like 1,500 Minecraft points or whatever the fuck they call them. But this looks great. I saw the trailer. I looked at the screenshots. This looks really, really good. Sometimes Minecraft gets these freaking DLC. Like, I know how it works. It's like other studios that specialize in making Minecraft content get commissioned to or the licensing to make these various like Disney or Simpsons or fucking Star Wars or whatever. Minecraft like story campaign DLC purchases. Whatever, and we're getting a Transformers one, and it looks really good. So it has a story mode, it has missions, it's like a whole game within Minecraft for Transformers, and I can't believe I have to say this, but I'm going to have to go buy another one of these Minecraft games, because they did it once with Sonic, they did it once with that Star, what is it called? Lightyear. They did it with Lightyear a few years ago. Yeah, so now I'm going to have to get another one for Transformers, because this shit looks good, but just want to shout it out, because I guess Transformers is moderately relevant right now with the new movie that just came out that I still haven't seen. I'm kicking myself for it because I'm really excited to see it, but I just haven't gotten around to it yet. But that's where we are with things. Transformers, Minecraft. So Xbox fans, you don't get a native version of the game, but you do get Transformers DLC if you want to pay for it. That's pretty cool. All right, let's move on. I think we got, what, one more, two more? Yeah, two more. So Sega, speaking of Xbox's only Japanese partner, Sega and Ryugai Gotoku Studio have announced Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. Announced during a live stream last Friday, the game will release on February 28th, 2025 for Xbox consoles, including last gen and current gen, as well as PC. The game is an action-adventure title, not an RPG like other recent titles in the series. And it will star, for the first time, the main character of the game will be Goru Majima, in which Majima will appear and follow directly from the events of Infinite Wealth, the most recent Like a Dragon game. This is awesome because as someone who's only played like 4 of these games, I gotta say, even though there's like 500 of them I still have yet to get to, Majima is the best character in the series, so it's fucking awesome that he's getting his own spin-off game. What's especially cool about this spin-off title is it is as wacky and ridiculous as ever before, and it's like a weird pirate adventure in Hawaii, and there's a fucking giant ass pirate ship in the middle of Tokyo at one scene, and there's freaking ships all over the water and ship combat, and you can jump and you can hack and slash, and so it's not like brawler combat, and it's not like a turn-based RPG combat like other entries in the series. It looks like it's more hack and slash combat, which is fucking ridiculous and cool. And then I just don't even know what to say, because one, I'm so behind on the series, and two, if you've never watched Yakuza, if you've never seen a trailer, you have no context for what it is, it's so hard to explain what this series is and how ridiculous these games are. They are so incredibly, sincerely, intensely Japanese. And I mean that in the most complimentary way. These games are so fucking ridiculous. They're funny. They're cool. They're compelling. I love these games. And I really wish I was up to date on all the latest entries, because I would love to play this when it comes out day one. But I still got to play Yakuza 4, 5, 6, Like a Dragon 1 and 2, and then like 3 or 4 other spin-off games before I can get to this. So fuck me, I only played Yakuza 0, 1, 2, and 3. So I guess 4 games still puts me like 20 games behind, it feels like. But this looks awesome. The trailer looks super good. It's crazy that they're able to just pump these games out, man. I know they work on the same engine. They just reuse art assets. They reuse a lot of the same environment. So it's like once they create like the town in the game, they're able to use that town for multiple entries in the series. So they're really smart with the reuse of assets, which kind of works in a series like this, because it's really not about like let's reimagine the whole gameplay loop. It's like, no, it's like these games are kind of about the narrative more than anything. So it's just more of the same gameplay, more of the same environment, reusing the same art assets to just kind of tell the next chapter in the story. It's almost like it's like a streaming service TV series, right? It's like you just watch the next episode. You don't got to tear it down and build a whole new set in between every single episode. Sometimes you just reuse the same assets and do episode 3 or whatever. So that's kind of where we are with this series. They're able to just kind of keep banging them out one by one because they kind of got it, all the bones of the games made. They're just kind of doing the next story. And it's great because on the receiving end, if you're up to date with these games, you're able to basically get a brand new one every fucking year. It seems like some years we get 2 of them. So it's kind of crazy, but it's a blessing, really. Games are usually only like 15 hours on the low end, 30 hours on the high end. I don't know. If you're only going to dedicate one Japanese game to your Xbox gaming career, I would recommend that series be Yakuza, because these games are truly phenomenal. And I think these games are kind of like the perfect way to help get Xbox gamers who are more Western-centric in their gameplay preferences to kind of start to get a taste of some of what, Japanese gaming is. Not to say that all Japanese games are as zany and wacky as these games are, but, I can see why someone who grew up playing like Halo and Skyrim and Gears of War might be like, I don't really feel the compelling urge to go play Final Fantasy, right? But I feel like a game like Yakuza is a really good way to get someone who's more Western-centric slowly more acclimated to Eastern-style video games. And that's one reason why I just think it seems like these games do relatively well on Xbox. But I don't know. I always recommend, like, if you're like someone who just doesn't play a lot of Japanese video games, you just have kind of a blind spot with that stuff, I feel like this is a really good series to give a try. Yakuza 0, perfect jumping on point. That game is absolute perfection. These games most of them are all on Game Pass, so there you go. But yeah, game looks great. I'd be super excited for it if I were up to date enough to be able to play it, but I'm sure someone out there has somehow beaten all these games already, so that's cool. And then our final opening story, Microsoft's announced the latest special edition Xbox controller. Following a recent leak that confirmed... So normally these are like, whatever, here's a new controller. This one's cool. Hey, hold on a second. The company officially revealed the Ghost Cypher Special Edition Xbox Wireless Controller on Tuesday. It is a transparent gray design, allowing players to see the controller's inner workings, rubberized back grips, and bronze metallic D-pad and triggers. Priced at $70 US, it's available for pre-order now with a launch date of October 8th. Microsoft has also launched a Cypher series top cases and chromatic D-pad paddles and more for the Elite Series 2 controllers, which are available on the Xbox Design Lab page in specific markets. So I don't know what markets do and don't have it, but I assume the US is one of the ones that does have it, because it's like the only market that matters for Xbox. I just gotta say, these controllers look fucking awesome. If you like the transparent green OG Xbox from like 2002, 2003, you're going to like the look of these controllers. If you like the old school Nintendo, like Game Boy Colors and N64s and stuff that always had the transparent colored plastic, like the purple one and the green one and the blue one and all that stuff, where it's like you can kind of see like the innards of the controller, but it has like a colored, like kind of transparent plasticky cover. Man, this shit is so nostalgic while also looking really fucking fresh and cool. I love this shit. This looks so good. I actually am very tempted to buy one of these. I know they did one of these controllers earlier in the year, but it was all blue. But this white one looks really good. I guess it's gray. But all the various colors they offer look really good. The gray one in particular, damn. I kind of want to get the Elite controller with the gray color. It looks really nice. But anyway, just thought I'd shout that out because we get Xbox controllers all the time, but this is one of the first ones in a while that I'm like, this is truly sexy, and you can also kind of customize it if you make an Elite Series controller out of it on the Design Labs page. So I recommend people take a look. It looks really good. It's pretty cool. Nice little customization. Hey, PlayStation just got a PS5 Pro and a 30th anniversary collection of cosmetics for PS5. So at least we're getting something over here on Xbox. This looks like a nice way to spend $70. So, all right, that's going to do it for all our wrap-up stories, our little morning early appetizer stories. I hope you're good with your meats and your cheeses. Maybe you got an artichoke dip or some kind of fucking arugula salad. I don't really know how you started your meal, but the server's taking your plate away. Your cocktail's coming off. Time to order a different beer. Or maybe instead of a cocktail, you get a glass of wine for your entree. Doesn't matter because we're going to ease into the main course here. But first, before we get into the news, I want to tell you about the games I've been playing this week. But before I can tell you about the games I've been playing this week, I got to tell you all about what it is I've been eating. Because hungry gamers are bad gamers. So we gotta eat up and stay chubby. All right, what I've been eating. So, yeah, like I alluded to earlier, I was traveling this weekend. Took Friday off, so I spent an extended weekend in Kansas City, Missouri. I don't think I've ever been to the Midwest. I went to Kentucky once. I guess that kind of counts. I don't know. I've never been to Missouri. Didn't know Missouri was a real place. But I went to Missouri. I went to Kansas City. I thought we were going to be closer to St. Louis than we were. Kind of wanted to go to like a jazz museum and to like see the Cardinals play a game or something. But my stupid geographically challenged ass was like, no, idiot. Kansas City is like 4 hours away from that. But anyway, I went to Kansas City because my father recently moved there, and so I'm visiting some family for the weekend. Cronky flew up there. It was cool. We had a handful of family members join, and it was a nice little weekend. But because of that, weren't able to really play a whole lot of video games, but was able to eat some food. So, gotta say, a couple things. I could focus this on a handful of different establishments, but I want to key in on one. First things first, Midwesterners, and I know someone out there listening to this podcast is from the Midwest. I have the data that shows that people in those states listen to this show. Why are you guys the nicest fucking people in the world? And I gotta say this, as a Southerner, I need to say this. My family is originally from the Northeast United States, and I often joke about how people from the northern eastern corner of this country are like the absolute scum of the earth. I hate New York. I hate New Jersey. I hate those fucking places. I think we need to maybe get a third one of those nuclear bombs, and instead of dropping it on Japan, maybe drop one on like Manhattan or something. Gross. Those people are gross. Aside from maybe Spider-Man, I don't really like New Yorkers. They're loud. They're Italian. Ew. And they think their shit doesn't stink. They always brag about their fucking bagels and their pizza as if they're the only ones in the world who have good food. I'm here to tell you, New York pizza, not that fucking special. New York bagels, okay, New York bagels live up to the hype. I'm not gonna trash those. But anyway, what am I trying to say? So my family's from the Northeast, a little familiar with that. I've been basically lived all my life in the South, mostly Georgia. So the stereotype, right, is that people in the North they're fast, they're harsh, they're mean. People in the South are slower, they're nicer, they take their time. We got a way here in the South. People are friendly, stay a while, that kind of shit. Not fucking true. Not true. Not true in Florida. Not true in Georgia. That's my experience. I lived in North Carolina. Not true there. I lived in Mississippi. It wasn't true there. I don't know what to tell you. This Southern charm, Southern hospitality, maybe it's because I never lived in the country, but I've always lived kind of relatively metropolitan areas or something, I guess, maybe. There's no such thing as Southern hospitality. People are still dicks here. I'm telling you that. Up north, Oh yeah, people are assholes. Let's just fucking burn New Jersey. Fucking light it on fire. That's what I'm talking about. Midwest? You guys are the nicest motherfuckers I've ever seen. Midwest is the weirdest place too, because it's like no one has an accent out there. And I know that's not true everywhere, but in Missouri, no one has an accent. There's no southern accent. There's no country accent. There's no northern accent. It's just normal. People just speak English there. It's weird. And I'm not like, it's not like a foreigner versus, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like American accents. Like there's no, everyone just talks like a normal person. Everyone drives appropriately, at the appropriate speed, with the appropriate amount of consideration for the people around them. It's beautiful. Traffic, their cars form on the road to get from place to place, but they don't fucking go 35 miles under the speed limit and or 30 miles over the speed limit at all times, causing a jam. It's like everyone just knows how to drive. Very different. My experience in the Midwest, I thought to myself for a moment, if it weren't for the fact that my father was just telling me about the negative 20-degree winter they just survived earlier this year, I could live here. I could do the Midwest. Now, if I moved to the Midwest, would I be doing to those people what New York has done to Florida and just fucking decimate any value the state has by bringing my negativity and aggressiveness and loudness to this once peaceful and prosperous state? Oh, most definitely. I would be the asshole. But as someone who is thoroughly fed up with Florida culture, which I always refer to Florida as the straight to VHS sequel to New York, it looks attractive. Just gotta say, you know, it's any place you go to is usually pretty nice if you're on vacation, right? You spend a couple days on, you know, as a out of towner. Pretty much anywhere you go is nice, but I gotta say, especially so, Missouri. You guys are fucking great. That's like the real, like, I know people like to goof about West Coast versus East Coast. Fuck all that, dude. The middle of the country right there. That's the real America. They're out. Everyone drives a truck and works with their hands, but like no one's a fucking hillbilly with a shotgun in their hands. It's like, oh, cool. I mean, I'm sure everyone's armed there, but you know, it's like everyone there is like normal. It's not like no one's a caricature. It's not like a fucking New Yorker or a Southerner where everyone's just kind of like, what, you know, I don't even know what I'm saying. I just really like the Midwest. So I just want to give a shout out to the Midwest as someone from the South, as someone raised by Northerners. Fuck the East Coast up and down. Midwest is where it's at. So what do you do when you're in the Midwest? I'm trying to think. We ate at a couple different places. Got to speak to something. You know, we went to a baseball game. We were able to see the Kansas City Royals. That was pretty fucking cool. They sucked and got their shit kicked in by San Francisco. That was funny. Pretty cool. I tried a different couple of places. You know, it's one of the Kansas City. You got to try the barbecue. I don't give a shit about barbecue. I think barbecue is one of the most overrated foods. Whatever. I'm here to talk to you guys about a restaurant we don't have access to in Georgia. We don't have access to in Florida. And it's kind of on that short list, along with In-N-Out Burger, where it's like, I know it's not going to be life-changing good food, but I'm obligated to try it at some point in my lifetime. And so I went to Whataburger. I went there. I've been there. I've eaten there. And now I'm here to speak about it. We went to the Whataburger. I will say one thing about Kansas City. Holy fuck, you guys do not shut up about the Chiefs. Oh my God. I get it. I get they're hot right now. Good for you. If I can give you just a little bit of advice, Chiefs fans, a little humility goes a long way. Be humble. Keep it cool. Because you can look at your Patriot brethren up in Massachusetts and in the Northeast, and they will tell you, you're not always going to be riding that high. At some point, you got to come down, okay? So chill the fuck out. Enjoy your prosperity and your wins and your moment in the spotlight. But just realize, I need to be able to go to the grocery store. I need to be able to go to the gas station without being inundated. Oh my God, dude. I thought the South was bad, where it's just like football, because everyone in the South loves college football, right? Holy shit. These guys, I'm pretty sure your average fucking Midwesterner would, or Missourian or Kansas Cityan, whatever. These people would they'd fall on a pile of spikes for Patrick Mahomes. These motherfuckers, they're passionate about this one specific team. Holy hell. What was I trying to say? Okay, Whataburger. So we went to Whataburger, and exciting to knock this one off the to-do list. I couldn't help the whole time I was there but think to myself, if I say I went to Whataburger on the podcast and I tell people what I ordered, is someone going to comment? Is some Texan or someone going to comment in and say, Jesse, what the fuck? You ordered wrong. You got the wrong thing. Is this like equivalent to going to McDonald's for the very first time in your life and getting a McChicken instead of like a double quarter pounder or a Big Mac or something, right? I don't know. Let's find out. Because I saw the number one, the number two, you know, the burgers and stuff, but I was drawn to the patty melt. You know, the fucking Texas toast piece with the double cheese patty melt and the signature sauce and the onions. I went for the patty melt, and I'm gonna say another thing. I know the default side item at Whataburger is French fries. I went for the onion rings. To be fair, my nephew got some French fries, so I was able to try his French fries. I grabbed a couple. I said, I was born before you. Fuck you. I'm going to take these fries. But I went for onion rings and patty melt over like cheeseburger and French fries. So I don't know if someone's going to write in and be like, Jesse, you fucking idiot. You can't go to Arby's for the first time and get the fish sandwich. You can't go to Sonic for the first time and get a corn dog. You know, it's like you got to get the signature items the first time you go so you can see what all the fuss is about. And then if you like it, you go back and you try something else, right? I don't know. But here's my takeaway about Whataburger. It's one of those fast food restaurants where the staff is uncomfortably nice, which I don't like. It's like Chick-fil-A. I hate that. A guy came up to our table halfway through our meal with a bucket of fancy ketchups. They had like 3 or 4 varieties of ketchup. So I'm like, what is the ketchup sommelier doing over at my table while I'm consuming 1,400 calories in a single cheeseburger? What the fuck is happening? So that made me uncomfortable. I'm dinging you for that. I don't like nice service at fast food. Makes me feel weird. Okay, so points off for that. The patty melt, how was it? The onion rings, how was it? The way I put it after I eat there was, I feel like Whataburger is like the love child of McDonald's and Carl's Jr. / Hardee's. Like the food, just in terms of the taste. Like the French fries are like kind of knock off McDonald's fries, and the food tastes like kind of like Carl's Jr. a little bit. That was my takeaway, with like the cleanliness and the level of service you get at like a Chick-fil-A. And you mash like Chick-fil-A service, Carl's Jr. food with a little bit of McDonald's influence, and you get Whataburger. That was kind of my takeaway. Am I off base? Let me know right in. Tell me, Jesse, you're stupid, you're dumb, you're an idiot, whatever. Maybe I'm even unhinged, as you might say. I don't know. Just let me know what you think. Whataburger, was it good? Yeah. Was it amazing? No. Do I feel like I'm missing out deeply not having access to Whataburger where I live? No, not at all. Would I eat it again? Yeah. Like next time I go to Texas or back to Missouri or whatever and it's there, I'll give it another go. Sure, it was fine. If I'm with someone like, I'm really craving Whataburger right now, like, sure, I'll go. But I'm not, a couple of restaurants that are better. Is it better than Sonic drive-thru? No. Which, side note, in Missouri, you guys have so many Sonic locations, and they're all like nice. They're not like dilapidated and old and like, I can't believe that place isn't out of business, which is so weird because like everywhere where I'm from, everywhere I've ever lived, Sonic is this fast food restaurant that like I'm always craving but can never find, and they're always closed or like fucking condemned or scary looking or something. Every Sonic in Missouri is like, there's like one every 3 miles, and they're all beautiful. They're in great shape. People are eating there. So that was weird. Welcome, but weird. But Sonic over Whataburger? Yes. McDonald's over Whataburger? Yes. Burger King on a good day when they're not fucking up the consistency of the food over Whataburger? Yes. So, Whataburger, I'm sorry, I just gotta say, I'll take you over Wendy's. I don't really like Wendy's all that much, so I'll take you over Wendy's. But, I was a little underwhelmed, but still, I had a good time. I was happy I got to try you. It's so impossible for these places to live up to the hype, and I know Whataburger is like a distant second or third to like In-N-Out as far as like those fast food restaurants that are region specific that everyone's like, oh my God, you gotta fucking try this. Like, I remember as a kid always feeling special because I was like, yeah, we have one of those here in Georgia. It's called Chick-fil-A. And then by the time I was like 12 years old, there was a Chick-fil-A like in every state. And I was like, oh, it's not special anymore. But I guess Whataburger and In-N-Out are kind of the big two now, right? I'm trying to think. I know there are probably some other ones, but those are the two that come to mind. In any case, Yeah, that's it for what I've been eating, really. I mean, shout out to Caribou Coffee, my favorite coffee shop. Those are all over. Not all over, but they're pretty. They're there. And went to Caribou Coffee a couple times. Yeah, Kansas City, you're a cool city. I like you. Whataburger, you're fine. You're a solid 6 out of 10, maybe. I don't know. Maybe 7 out of 10. I don't know. It's not bad. All right, guys, that's it for what I've been eating. Now on to the what I've been playing, which we can just plow through this. So I'm still working on a Kimbot. Like I said, didn't get to play it at all this weekend. So my plans for this weekend are to just wrap that game up, finish it up, put a nice little bow on it. And then I was going to just keep myself open because next week Shattered Spaces comes out. But the problem is, oh man, I'm really itching to play a Marvel game still. I'm still like every day thinking about like, oh, maybe I'll just get Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 on the Switch, and then I don't really want to spend $60 on it, especially when I'm really in the mood to play like the original Marvel Ultimate Alliance, not the new one. So I keep like wrestling with that. So I caved in and I downloaded Marvel Midnight Suns because it's been on sale for $15 lately. And I'm like, you know what? I know, even though I'm not in the mood for this game, I'm not in the mood for an RPG, I'm not in the mood for a card battling system, I know I'll get hooked on this game because I'm in such a Marvel mood, and there are so few Marvel games available on modern Xbox hardware. God, it's like a tongue twister. I knew I'd be into it. So it was downloading last night. You know, I got to like the 60% download range, and I was like, yeah, you can launch the game now. So it let me play the tutorial and start my save profile. So I jumped in, I did that, played for 30 minutes maybe, got through the opening cutscenes, did the tutorials, did a couple battles. Immediately, I was like, oh yeah, this will do. This is going to fucking do it. Yep. Now, the intimidating thing about this game, the reason it took me like a whole week of going back and forth to finally download this game was that HowLongToBeat.com says it takes about 40 fucking hours to get through this game, and I'm so tired of every game being so long. It makes me upset because it's like I don't want to start a game with the intention of not finishing it, but for 40 hours, I don't know that I can finish this game. Now, I hope I like it enough that I can do that, but we'll just have to see how it goes. 30 minutes in a tutorial is not long enough to make that assessment. So I don't know. But after I finish up a Kimbot this weekend, I'm jumping into Marvel Midnight Suns, and that is my plan for the weekend, is to play the shit out of that game. Maybe hopefully also see Transformers 1. So if all goes well, that's it. But I really haven't been playing games yet. I'm just looking forward to getting into some video games starting tomorrow. That'd be pretty nice. But guys, that's it for what I've been playing, what I've been eating, all the rest. Shout out to Missouri. You guys are pretty fucking cool over there. Whataburger. What about her? Let's get to the news. All right, let's jump into the news, starting with a new report about potential, obviously these are not firm data, but some sales estimates about Xbox versus PlayStation, and things looking, of course, a little more dire than expected. So from PureXbox.com, Microsoft doesn't usually share console sales data these days, aside from when talking about percentages during fiscal updates. But a new report using third-party info gives us a fresh estimate on the current sales of Xbox S and X. Using data from Aldera Intelligence, compiled by Wall Street Journal, Microsoft is reported to have estimated or shifted about 28.3 million units of Series S and X consoles. In comparison to PS5, that's about 61.7 million units that they've shifted, which is, data that Sony's provided themselves. So we know that's a pretty firm number. So Sony is in the low 60 million range. Xbox is in the high 20 million range. So let's just round up and down a little bit and make it a little cleaner. Xbox has sold about roughly 30 million units. PlayStation's at roughly 60 million units, which means 2-1, which I feel like isn't as bad as, because in the past 6 months, there's been some reporting about how Xbox was probably getting outsold 2-1, but this is, or 3-1 rather. But this would be more like 2-1, which is bad, but not as bad, right? Last summer, thanks to ID at Xbox, during a presentation, we heard Microsoft had officially sold over 21 million Xbox Series S and X consoles. That was in June 2023. So a year later, maybe they've shifted about or shipped about 7 or 8 million more units, putting them close to 30 million. Now, I'm sure that these numbers are a little dated once you consider like the college football game that made Xbox suddenly super popular in the States a month ago or so. Maybe that helped move another million or two. So it's possible to say that, maybe not maybe 2 million, but, maybe another million or so. It's possible to think that Xbox is probably really close to 30 million units, which again, 2 to 1, not great. And when you consider the fact that the Xbox Series or the Xbox One generation was estimated to have petered out around the 45 to 50 million range, we're behind. Xbox has got some fucking work to do. And this is, I know this is not a news story by any stretch of the imagination, this idea, this conversation, right, about Xbox hardware sales are down. I feel like if these numbers are to be believed, and so for the sake of this conversation, let's just say this is right. Let's just say it's roughly 30 million versus roughly 60 million. I feel like simultaneously Xbox is in worse shape than we thought, in better shape than we thought. Better shape in that they're not getting outsold by PlayStation 3 to 1 like some people have said. It looks like they're getting outsold 2 to 1. But in worse shape than we thought in that, how was this console selling worse than the Xbox One when the whole narrative during the Xbox One generation was Xbox is doomed, Xbox doesn't have any games, Xbox fucked up, blah, 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 TV, Xbox, sports, Call of Duty, whatever, all the memes and jokes about it, and you can use the Xbox 360 if you don't want to be online all the time. All the jokes, right? And despite all the comeback and all the hard work they put into this generation, everything with the goodwill built up throughout the later years of the Xbox One, all the way to Game Pass, all the way to the most powerful console ever made, all the way to the least expensive console on the market with the Series S, all the way to Starfield and buying Activision and buying Bethesda and all these things, right? Doesn't matter. 28 million units, 30 million units, whatever, fuck you. It's hard to see a world in which Xbox really truly bounces back when everything amounts to this. Although I'll always stick to my guns on the one thing only that there is left for Xbox to prove. Xbox never got to do the 12 months, 18 months, every couple months have a big hitter game, thing. Because every time they hit, there was always some kind of snafu. Halo Infinite had its issues. Starfield wasn't as big as people thought it was going to be, right? And then games get delayed. And then Xbox puts their foot in their mouth and shoots themselves in the foot, and fucking a Redfall happens, or they shut down a studio, or they have layoffs, or whatever the hell keeps getting in the way. And the PR is always mixed to bad all the time. But if there could just be a 12 to 18 month period where it's like, and Call of Duty comes out and it's awesome, and Indiana Jones comes out and it's awesome, and South of Midnight comes out and it's awesome, and Fable comes out and it's awesome, and during all that time, the news cycle is not Phil Spencer saying something and then walking it back. We're putting more games on PlayStation. This team just got shut down. Oh, we just had more layoffs. Oh, this guy just came out and said Microsoft is dumb and Xbox is stupid. If we could just have 12 to 18 months of that, which we're very close to being in a position where we could have that would be the only true way to test if there is a way to salvage this brand through a steady stream of high quality, good games. And this test would also have to rely on all of those games being of a high quality and doing well. At least commercially, or at least critically being well received, because so much of Xbox's issue is that the conversation is always, it's not as good as PlayStation. And unfortunately, we're never going to get to see that played out to fruition, because even if we do get that cadence of games and those games are all good, it's always going to be second to this narrative now that Xbox has crafted of, all of our games are on PlayStation. Fuck you, Xbox players. And Minecraft doesn't run native on our platform, just theirs. So weird. So, I don't know, man. It's disheartening to see. It's also encouraging in a way. You could imagine maybe they could get Xbox Series consoles to 50 million with some really good games by running the rest of the generation tighter, and then maybe a price drop or two. But it's just so hard when the whole world expects that you're about to drop out of the hardware market and all your games are going to PlayStation. So it's like, well, if they had a chance of turning things around, they kind of got fucked now, because Satya Nadella and the newer higher ups at Microsoft are saying, nah, fuck you, we want money. So, man, oh man, that's disappointing. But what else we got here? Let's move on. Not much more to say about that. Ubisoft Shadows has been delayed. So from pure Xbox, bad news for anyone who's looking forward to Assassin's Creed Shadows. The game just got delayed from its planned November 15th launch to a February 14th, 2025. The reason for it? Well, it needs more refinement and polish. In a message posted on social media, Ubisoft said the following. Dear players, Assassin's Creed Shadows is a dream project for us, finally bringing the series to a feudal Japan with many features developed with our community in mind, such as parkour and our renewed stealth brought by new technology, all set in a beautiful and immersive world. This is an ambitious addition to the franchise, a rich experience that can be lived through the eyes of two unique protagonists, but we realize we need more time to polish and refine the experience, pushing further some of our key features. As such, we made the decision to delay the game to February 14th next year. The game will be released on a broad range of platforms, including Steam at launch. Additionally, pre-orders will be refunded to all future pre-orders. Additionally, the pre-orders will be refunded, and all future pre-orders will be granted as with the first expansion for free. We understand the decision comes as a disappointment, especially for those who've been waiting for an Assassin's Creed game inspired by feudal Japan. But we sincerely believe that this is in the best interest of the game and ultimately your experience as a player. Rest assured, we're looking forward to the moment in which you embark on a memorable adventure as Naoi or Yasuke. Until then, we thank you for your ongoing support. And that is the note. So, a whole lot of, hey, we delayed the game. So, listen, we don't have to have the conversation. It's been had a million times before. A delayed game is better than a rushed game, so take your time, get it right. We have plenty of games to play in the meantime. The issue here is that PlayStation just announced a sequel to Ghost of Tsushima set to come out next year, and Ubisoft just announced Assassin's Creed Shadows coming out next year. So these games seem somewhat opposed to one another. However, Assassin's Creed is coming out in February. Ghost of Tsushima 2 is probably not coming out till, I don't know, probably the fall time. So they should have 6 to 10 months apart from each other, which should make it better. But it is now in the year of that, which is going to be a conversation piece. Maybe the two games will help one another with having a 6 to 10 month difference. Maybe people will use one to get hyped for the other because people are hungry for these kinds of games. I don't know. But that is something that is worth saying. And then also, this has a lot to do apparently with their fiscal situation, with the new Star Wars game kind of being underwhelming and X-Defiant reportedly being in less of a great condition in terms of its player base. And so maybe, just maybe, this is like some kind of ploy to be like, we need to spread our games out a little better because we're not confident that this quarter is going to be salvageable. And if we put all of our games out in this quarter, then we're kind of loose for next quarter, and we just got to space things out a little better because we're kind of struggling right now. Ubisoft's had a couple of games recently that have been somewhat underwhelming in terms of commercial success, like that new Avatar game and that new Crew game and all that. So they got to, they're probably a little nervous about things right now. In fact, they were so nervous that they announced on Twitter this week that they're canceling their TGS live stream. So they're not going to Tokyo Game Show anymore. And that they were supposed to have some kind of live stream where they talked about Star Wars Outlaws and X-Defiant and Assassin's Creed Shadows. So now all that is canceled. It's off the table. And in separate conversations we didn't talk about on the podcast last week, but X-Defiant's been criticized for losing all of its player base. And then they came out and said, we can assure you the player base is healthy. It's very much alive. The game is not dead. But between them coming out and saying things like that, and then in this Assassin's Creed announcement saying that, where is it? They said, we know it's disappointing, especially for those who have waited so patiently for an Assassin's Creed game set in feudal Japan. It's like, I don't know how I feel about this Ubisoft marketing speak where they acknowledge the Twitter talk. I always feel a little uncomfortable when companies kind of embrace the internet conversation because it's just like, I don't know, man. It weakens, like, I don't know. I think it makes you look a little weaker as a corporation or an entity when you acknowledge like the he said, she said internet murmurings. So I find that kind of weird. It's like, I understand people are excited about a feudal Assassin's Creed game. This game probably is the result of giving the people what they want. But in like marketing the game that way, it's like, I don't know. It's almost as if like you're saying like, we don't make creative decisions based on what our creators want to make. We make decisions based on what Twitter tells us is going to be the right move. It's like by coming out and saying like, hey, X-Defiant's player base is pretty good and we got a season 2 roadmap already planned out. So stop saying the game's dead. You're wrong. It's like, it's like why I hate when like brands have social media accounts that are clearly run by like 20-something-year-olds who are just playing all the memes. And they're like, what that feeling when your phone gets wet and automatically orders Arby's directly from DoorDash. It's like, all right, Arby's, Instagram, I don't need you fucking trying to be silly, trying to be the funniest guy on the internet. Like, it's lowering the value of your brand. It's making you seem a little childish and a little too, I don't know. I get that this is how brands and companies talk to people now, it's a much more direct and like acknowledging that we know what you're saying kind of way. But I feel like it's bad show for your company in a way. I don't know. Maybe I'm just kind of scrutinizing this too much, especially because they're just acknowledging the fact that people are excited for the game. But in any case, game's delayed, disappointing. It's a busy holiday season anyway. They're probably saying, we need more polish. Star Wars is doing bad. Let's try to salvage that game. Push Assassin's Creed out so maybe we can make next quarter look a little better. And then while we're at it, get away from fucking Call of Duty and I don't know what else is coming out this year. There isn't too much that's like huge and crazy this year aside from like Call of Duty. And I even hesitate to say Indiana Jones because Indiana Jones is just that's just the early demo for Xbox users before PlayStation fans get it. Probably closer to Assassin's Creed Shadows release sometime next year. So I don't know what to say, but the game is delayed. Hopefully it comes out in the best shape possible. But yikes, getting the first expansion for free because they delayed the game, I feel like that's kind of like overkill. They don't have to do that, so they must be very much trying to earn as much goodwill as possible. They must not be very confident in how the market is going to react to that game for some reason, which is weird because I feel like this game's going to do fine. I don't know. All right, guys, the last big story we have is just a series of announcements that were made during PlayStation's event. So PlayStation had a State of Play this week, which is like their version of Nintendo Direct, and a couple of games were shown there that are also coming to Xbox. So I figure we would just kind of address these all in one like kind of combined story, and then that will do it for the news this week. So first up, Monster Hunter Wilds was shown at the event. So this is like the 5th or 6th time we've seen this game at an event in the past 2 years. So nothing special there. We got another trailer. Don't care. But the important news here is we got a release date. So the game's coming out February 28th. So just a few weeks after Assassin's Creed. Usually January, February, especially February, March, really. In past like 4 or 5 years has become a pretty busy time of the year for game releases. So doesn't surprise me. This game will do really, really well. I think last time Monster Hunter Worlds came out around a similar time of year. So it seems like they're trying to recreate that success with a similar launch window. This game's going to be huge, no doubt about it. And it looks good. I wish I still cared about Monster Hunter. I feel like Monster Hunter is kind of like Pokemon for me. It's one of those things where like I used to love this series. I used to buy every entry as they would come out. And then for some reason, a few years ago, I just decided like, I'm done. I get it. I'm over it. But I still like it. I still like and respect Monster Hunter. I just have nothing to say about it. But it's coming out the 28th of February. So honestly, just what is that from now? Like 5-6 months? Not too far away. So that was the first thing. Second thing here is Alan Wake 2's second DLC was shown and announced, The Lake House. The Lake House, it's going to be released in October. This DLC, which is clearly an homage and pays... It has a lot of reference to Control, the other big Remedy game that's in the same universe as Alan Wake. So you hear Jesse Faden, the main character of Control. It seems like she's talking or doing VO. And then it shows the lake house from the first Alan Wake game. And so the little description reads, dive into a harrowing survival horror experience with the latest expansion of Alan Wake 2 set in an eerie new location on the shore of Cauldron Lake. The DLC's official description reads, within the Federal Bureau of Control Research Station, the Lake House, a catastrophic event that has occurred where reckless experiments have caused reality to collide with the dark place. The expansion unfolds parallel to the main game, putting you in the shoes of FBI agent Karen Estevez, portrayed by Janina Gavankar. Physical edition of the game will be released on October 22nd. So it looks like the DLC and the physical edition are coming out around the same time. And it looks like that isn't Jesse. That's a new character, Karen. So be interesting to see how that all plays in. Of course, Alan Wake and Control, two games that are kind of challenging to follow exactly everything that's going on, but very compelling and very interesting games nonetheless. And so I'll have to check this out because I want to see where the story is going. I love Alan Wake and Alan Wake 2 in particular so very much, so I'm very much excited to give that a go. Then after Alan Wake 2, we got Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver 1 and 2 remastered. This would have been a huge bombshell if we didn't kind of know this was already happening, but there have been murmurings about it in surveys and things in recent years that have led us to believe this was happening, but very exciting. So a remaster collection has officially been announced for Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver 1 and 2 remastered. So yeah, this is actually coming to Xbox as well. Even though these games are traditionally PlayStation games, this remaster collection will be on Xbox. Much like Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary and other examples of remasters, the Legacy of Kain collection will be playable in either the original form or the team's newly remastered presentation. The remastered collection is coming out on December 10th for Xbox Series and Xbox One consoles. So this is a game series that I don't remember the games all that well. I just remember Cronky really loved them, but me and my older brother also, we were all into this game a lot. These Soul Reaver games, especially Soul Reaver 2, I believe, a lot on the PS2 back in the day when we were kids. And I just remember like thinking very highly of these games, and I want to go back and play them. I mean, action adventure games are creepy, they're eerie. You play as a vampire, you fight vampires. It's adventure funness. I don't know. I just remember liking these games a lot, and I'd be very curious to go back and experience them again. I feel like a lot of games from like the PS1, PS2 era that I haven't thought about in a very long time are starting to get remade, and it's like, wow, this is crazy. Like Tomba just came back recently, Croc's coming back, Legacy of Kain's coming back. Yeah, Crystal Dynamics from back in the day. So it's being remade by Aspyr, but Crystal Dynamics was the original creator. I think, honestly, what's her name? Amy Hennig, the creator of Uncharted. These were games I believe she worked on back in the day. So actually, like, notable talent made these games a long time way back when. And so these are kind of like important games to the history of gaming, although they weren't like commercial like masterpieces. They did well critically and have a lot of prominence in like the history of gaming. And I don't know, I just have a lot of fond memories of enjoying these games as a kid, but I don't remember specifically the moment to moment game as well. So I'll be curious to see when these come out and I play them, if this will be one of those things where like you start playing it and it's like, holy shit, I didn't realize deep in the back of my mind I had all of this game memorized, and I just haven't thought about it in 20 years, and now here it is coming back to me. So that'll be really exciting to see. I'm actually really pumped that this is coming to Xbox, because we knew the remaster collection was coming. I kind of thought it would be on PC and PlayStation only, so I'm very relieved to see that Xbox is getting some love with these. So nice. Good thing Crystal Dynamics likes Xbox, and I wonder if that has something to do with it. I don't know. Alrighty. And then three more. I don't really know what to say about this one because I'm not familiar with this game, but Arc Age Chronicles. So this is the sequel to the Arc Age. What is this? It's an RPG. It's an online action RPG series. So the first one was released in 2013 on PC. This is a sequel that has been long in development. That's coming to Xbox Series S and X, as well as, of course, PlayStation and other platforms. In 2025, the studio says, expansive open world with dynamic combat system, Arc Age Chronicles is a sequel to the 2013 PC original that just recently closed its servers. The new version also promises a deep narrative and player-driven economy alongside plenty of community features, so it's sounding pretty ambitious. Yup. They say it's the next evolution of the series, built on the foundation of the original, Unreal Engine 5, stunning visuals, immersive gameplay, blah, 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 blah. The trailer looks fine. I feel like it doesn't really sell an online action game really well, so I don't really know what to make of it. But I have no touchstone to what these games are. Looks cool, but hey, it's coming to Xbox, so that's surprising that it didn't get locked to PlayStation exclusively. And then next, they showed my favorite game of the show, which is Sonic X Shadow Generations, which I would normally have nothing to say about this because the game's almost out. We've seen it a couple times. Oh, well. But they announced that, well, first of all, if you pre-order the deluxe edition, which is $60 because the base version is $50, you get the game 3 days early. So you can play it on October 22nd instead of October 25th, which is a really strategic move because Black Ops 6 comes out on the 25th. So you can pre-order the special edition of Sonic Generations, play it 3 days early, and then on the 25th play Call of Duty and not have the two impede with one another. So that's fucking awesome. But at this showcase, they announced that a Sonic the Hedgehog 3 movie pack will be included in the deluxe edition of the game. So further reason to get the deluxe edition. The pack offers the ability to play as a new movie version based on Shadow the Hedgehog from the movie series, the third movie that comes out later this year. And the version of the movie Shadow in this game will be voiced by Keanu Reeves, who is also voicing Shadow in the third Sonic movie. So The game will the special mission or mode will include a Tokyo area where the movie is partially set in, and characters will be able to run around as Keanu Reeves voiced movie version of Shadow the Hedgehog in Tokyo. And they said it's not narrative based, this DLC, but it's like gameplay area based. So it seems like a big like techie sandbox where you get to run around and do stupid shit, maybe a couple missions. But this looks fucking awesome. They showed gameplay. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun to dick around with. It might be a little shallow, might not be all that much content, but it looks like a really fun thing to play around with for a little bit. So I'm very much looking forward to giving them an additional $10 extra to play the game 3 days early and to get access to this. But that looks really, really good, I thought. And I'm just really excited for Sonic X Shadow Generations. The first time we saw it, I was like, this game doesn't need a remake. And then the more we see it, the more I'm like, holy shit, they're actually like adding enough content that they're kind of justifying it. Kind of reminds me of Super Mario 3D World, where, you know, it was a Wii U game and then they brought it to Switch. And I was like, all right, this game doesn't really need a remake. You know, I know the Switch audience is much bigger than the Wii U audience, but like, come on. And then they did like the Bowser Cat DLC, Bowser's Story or whatever the fuck it's called. And I was like, all right, now you justified it by adding all this extra shit. And I feel like this is Sega kind of taking a page out of Mario's book with that, by adding all this extra Shadow the Hedgehog shit to really make this remake and remaster and port worthy of the, you know, your time and money. And so I'm really down for it. I'm really excited to play all this shit. So yeah, it's one of my most anticipated games for sure. And then lastly, I'll keep this one brief. There's a free update that's out now for TMNT Shredder's Revenge. It's the Radical Reptiles DLC, which allows you to play as Mondo Gecko and Mona Lisa in this free update that's out now. So that was announced at the PlayStation event as well. And that's really everything at the PlayStation event that relates to Xbox. Overall, I mean, the event wasn't all that in a bag of chips, but hey, a couple of really cool things. Soul Reaver, Sonic the Hedgehog, Alan Wake DLC. I'm all for it. So that's going to do it for all of our news this week. Yeah, guys, it's time to move on to the important enough news stories. Stories important enough to make the podcast, but not important enough to warrant their own discussions, which we got a couple we can just blast off here real quick. I think we only got like 3 of them, right? So Microsoft is ending the Ambassador program after 13 years. So on October 15th, the Ambassador program will be no more. From Xbox Blog or Xbox Wire, all ambassadors who have been active this season have received a special thank you. So please check your rewards page for details as they sunset this program. I know it's a big deal for some, but I have nothing to say about it. Next up, Atlas has released a free prologue demo for the upcoming Metaphor ReFantazio, which is going to be shown at Tokyo Game Show. The demo is 5 hours and has saved data that can transfer to the proper game when it launches next month. So it's a pretty good deal. Give it a go if you're interested in that game. And then finally, Silent Hill 2 Remake will be a PlayStation console exclusive for at least 1 year, it's been revealed. We knew it was exclusive to PlayStation, but now we have more details. According to the game's latest trailer, it will be not available in other formats until 10/8/2025, which is next October. While this doesn't confirm the game will be released next month on PlayStation PC, it does come to Xbox on that date. So it does confirm that the current exclusive period is planned for 1 year. Let me clarify that because I read it like an idiot. So the game is coming to PlayStation next month, and then that's about a year from that date. So yeah, it means that at least 1 year exclusivity. Similar messaging had previously appeared on trailers for games like, I don't know, Final Fantasy VII Remake and other games that came to PC and then just never came to Xbox. So I don't think that means this game is coming to Xbox, but it means if it can come to Xbox, it will be at least 1 year's worth of wait. So that sucks. Look, they both do the slimy exclusivity time deal thing, PlayStation and Xbox, and it fucking sucks. I hate it. I love it. I hate it. All right, guys, that's going to do it for all of our news this week. Now, I don't even know how we're going to tackle this, but we're going to get into the best part and last part of the show, the comments, shoutouts from YouTube.com. You know how it works. Head on over to YouTube.com, type in Xbox On Podcast, click on the latest episode of the show, and leave a comment only on the latest episode of the show, because if you leave a comment on an old episode, I'm going to go, cute, we're not reading this. And while you're at it, if you use iTunes for podcasts, you're awesome. Please leave me a 5-star review. I don't care if you think the show's only worth 3 or 4 stars. Again, as always, just give me a 5-star review. I'm just asking for that positive feedback that's going to bump me up the algorithm so other schizophrenic assholes can find this show and listen just like you do, just like I do, just like we do. So be like we and review me. So thank you, please. And now on to the comments. So yeah, we had 20 fucking comments right in. And I would say about 4 or 5 of them are usual suspects, our friends, our people we can trust, like the Mike Clarks and Sam Fritos of the world. And then the rest of you motherfuckers are a bunch of shady-ass people who, hey, maybe these are new listeners. Maybe these are people who are like, fuck, yeah, this is a good podcast. I'm going to listen. Thank you for writing in. But I think a lot of these are some of those drive-by comments, people who saw the name of the podcast, the name of the episode, the title, and then said, I have an opinion about that. Let me click, downvote, leave a nasty comment, and get the fuck out of here. So I don't really know. I only preface with that just to say, I don't know, aside from a few of you guys who I recognize, which comments here are going to be like genuine people talking and which ones are going to be like hate fuel bots. So let's just go through them all and just try to make the most of it and have fun. And hey, if you're a new listener here, thank you. Welcome. Enjoy the show. Keep commenting. Let me know what you think. I don't care if you disagree with me or you hate me. I just prefer that you actually listen to what I'm saying before you leave a comment arguing points that I didn't even make. So we'll get into some of that in a minute. Mike Clark kicks this off and says, hello, Jesse. Just dropping a quick hey. I've been hanging out in Panama City, Florida for the week, where my cell phone was my lifeline. Social media, not so much. Hope you have an awesome week and can't wait to catch up tomorrow. Well, hey, man, enjoy your time in Panama City. I've never been to Panama City, Florida. I hear mixed things about it, but hey, it's a fucking beach. Who gives a shit? It's probably a good time. Hope you get out of there before this storm hits, though, because, that's going to affect Panama City, right? I don't fucking know. One of the blessings of living, like, deadlocked Central Florida is, like, 99% of the time a big storm comes. I don't really care. Not like I don't care. I care for the people it's going to affect, but, I don't have to worry as much. Very blessed, very fortunate being as landlocked as you can be here in Florida, for whatever that means. But, stay safe out there, man. Enjoy your time. Be good. Look forward to seeing you. Let us know how your travels were when you get back. Sam Frito writes in and says, Spider-Man is the GOAT. I was the kid that loved reading Spider-Man and watched the cartoons. Even as a supposed adult, I still go nuts over Spider-Man. If I had a pancake house or bulgogi place, if Spider-Man had a pancake house or a bulgogi place, I would eat there all the time. Marvel Unlimited is awesome. I will probably stay subscribed for the rest of my eyesight life span. Great job. 5 stars as always. Thanks. Thank you, Sam Frito, for writing in. Dude, Marvel Unlimited fucking rocks. I've been reading it every single night since I've subscribed, and I'm having a blast with it. So I love... If Spider-Man had a pancake house or bulgogi place... If Spider-Man had a restaurant, why would it be either of those two places? He has a Korean beef or a fucking breakfast place? What? If Spider-Man owned a restaurant, what kind of restaurant would it be if Spider-Man owned a restaurant? Well, let's see. He worked at Mr. Aziz's Pizza, so maybe he'd have a pizza place, and then he could do like in the Spider-Man 2 video game where he wears the backpack with the pizza on it, and he flips the pizzas, and he goes, if I flip the pizzas, Mr. Aziz will flip out. Maybe he'd have a pizza place? Not a bulgogi place, unless Spider-Man's got some fucking I don't know, passion for Korean culinary that we didn't know about. Anyway, yeah, Sanford, this is a response to an ongoing back and forth. I think that's been happening for a few weeks now, where I think someone was saying something about Spider-Man. I think it was taken out of context. I don't know. I think that person wrote in, so let me scroll to that comment so we can just jump right to that and try to give him a chance to say something. It was Mike Balboa who said, I was a Spider-Man fanboy since I was a kid. I just can't take myself to buy a new Spider-Man game. And if I want to play it, I'll just play the Spider-Man games I have on 360. What's really the difference between those Spider-Man games and the ones on the PS5? It's literally the same old characters and plots that we already know. So let me guess. Jesse wants to play it because now it looks so real. I see why people buy new iPhones every year despite no major difference. All right, Mike Balboa. Again, thank you for writing in. Can't make sense of this comment. I don't know, man. I played almost every Spider-Man game that's ever come out, and they're not all the same. It's very clear and obvious that the Insomniac Spider-Man games are mechanically very inspired by the Treyarch Spider-Man games from like the PS2 era and such. But I think that's because those Treyarch Spider-Man games are kind of a rough, budgety version of exactly what a Spider-Man game should be. So it's like, why would you deviate too much from the ideas of what that game introduces, like mechanically? But aside from that, I don't see how you could say any of these games are the same game with the same plots. I mean, the Spider-Man games from Insomniac are obviously very different and very unique. I don't know. I haven't read every version of every Spider-Man comic, so maybe I'm sounding ignorant, but from what I've experienced and from what I can tell, narratively, those games are very unique. And from a gameplay perspective, they have a production value and a modern sensibility that makes them very much new and exciting and fresh and worth playing over those other Spider-Man games from 10, 15, 20 years ago. So I agree to disagree. I don't know, man. You're just not going to get me to say that like Spider-Man's for kids or that like new Spider-Man's exciting. The only thing that's new Spider-Man that I don't get excited about, I'll say, is just the Tom Holland movies. I think that's the only like Spider-Man's always been like bust a fucking nut for Spider-Man anytime something with that IP happens. But it was the combination of like The Amazing Spider-Man in 2012 and then The Amazing Spider-Man 2 in 2014. And then Spider-Man Homecoming in 2017, and then Spider-Man Far From Home in 2019, where I was just like, all right, man. And listen, I like Homecoming. I don't love it. I think Far From Home is like okay, kind of mid. Amazing Spider-Man 2 sucks ass. And The Amazing Spider-Man from 2012 with Andrew Garfield, it's okay. I've learned to like it a lot more over the years, but it's not particularly good, but it's okay. And it's just like, I think my thing with Spider-Man is like, it's my favorite thing of all time. We just haven't had like really good Spider-Man in a long time, you know? I like the MCU a lot, like a lot. I always am down for whatever the next MCU movie is. I watch them all and I pretty much always enjoy them. Even the ones that people hate on, like, what was the one, like the Eternals or whatever? Like, I thought Eternals was actually pretty fun. It's one of the lower ranking ones, but it was still a good time. But point being, as much as I enjoy Marvel, I have not enjoyed Spider-Man all that much in recent history. That last movie was pretty good just because we got the nostalgia porn with the crossovers and stuff. But it wasn't a particularly great movie otherwise. I don't know. I like Spider-Man. I like Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. No, I like Spider-Man when like his story is more grounded, and I feel like we get a lot of like larger than life Spider-Man these days, and it's just not as good. But anyway, I don't know what we're talking about. I love Spider-Man. Whatever. I don't care if he's a boy. I'll kiss him on his lips. But yeah, Spider-Man fucking rocks. If you're an adult, you should still love him because he's the greatest, aside from maybe Sonic or Lightning McQueen. I like red characters. I like fast characters. I like blue characters. So Spider-Man is red and blue. Lightning McQueen is red and fast. Sonic is blue and fast. So if you're like any combination of these things, like, I mean, I'm there. Give me your red, blue, fast characters. I'm all for it. Flash? No, I'm not that crazy about Flash. He's fine. Anyway. Speaking of Flash, dude. So there's that new DC movie series on HBO Max, right? It's Justice League, Crisis on Infinite Earths. It's a 3-part movie series. So I watched 1 and 2 with the assumption that all 3 parts were on HBO Max. No, only parts 1 and 2 are on HBO Max. Part 3 you need to buy separate. And the reason that's so extra frustrating is because these movies all came out within the past 6 months and were created for streaming services. That is such a fucking slimy, shitty move to intentionally release three parts of a finale movie back to back to back and gatekeep the third one behind, or paywall the third one behind. Fuck that. Dude, fuck that shit. I'm not paying for it. I'll just not finish the movie. Fuck that. Anyway, where were we? Oh yeah, talking about video games. Beyond Earth 6418 writes in and says, at this point, you only need a PC and a Switch 2. That is nonsense. Listen, man, I'm going to institute a rule on Xbox On going forward. And I'm going to be serious. I'm not going to be goofy about it. I'm going to be serious. If you are a PC gamer, if you prefer to play your games on PC, more power to you. Good for you. I'm happy for you. I'm not trying to take anything away from you. For the love of fucking Christ, please stop trying to say PC is better. Or why don't you just get a PC? Or console gaming is useless, PC is better. Stop. Fucking stop. Fucking stop. It's like trying to tell me to ride my bike to work because it's healthier and better for the environment and it looks cooler or something. Like, shut up. Shut up. PC gaming and console gaming are so intrinsically different from one another, and they serve completely different markets. And beyond Earth, I want to be clear. I'm trying to not trying to rag on you, but I'm just trying to make a point, a grander point for everyone, so that we can be clear about this. These are different ways of consuming video games, and we need to stop telling people that one or the other is superior. To me, console gaming is so much better than PC. I would rather give up gaming as a hobby than move full-time to PC gaming. That is how much I don't want to play a PC. That's how much I don't want to interface with my work device for entertainment. That I would rather just be like, you know what? I enjoyed it while I enjoyed it. I'm done with video games. Now I like theme parks, punk rock music, and hopscotch. Fuck video games. Those are my big 3 hobbies now. Fuck video games. I'm going to fucking draw squares in the chalk on the sidewalk and hop around on alternating feet now because I don't want to play video games on a PC exclusively. Thank you. So please stop writing in with the whole PC is better than X. Shut up. I don't care. Beyond Earth, thank you for writing in. Have a great week. And yeah, Switch 2, I'm sure it'll be really fun when it comes out. Sam Carey writes in and says, I agree with your sentiment with PC because they really act like, I didn't plan this, by the way. This is just actually perfect. I agree with your sentiment on, I don't even know what I said last week about PC also. I agree with your sentiment on PC because they really act like it's the end-all be-all, but you can't even enjoy local multiplayer comfortably. At least with console, you can play with someone next to you and not feel claustrophobic. That's a good point, and that's true. It's nothing I would ever run into because I don't like local multiplayer. Dude, I just like I don't know how to put this. I mean, good point, and that makes sense for you, Sam Carey. Thank you for writing in. I appreciate you. Hope you're having a great week. It's just like, listen, man. My favorite way to play a video game is to sit my ass on the couch in front of a TV and to pick up a video game controller, preferably an Xbox controller, and to press the on button and just goes boo-doo-doo. And then you're on the dashboard and there's video games and I can play video games or I can stream video games or I can go to the marketplace and buy video games and download my video games. And then I play video games on my video game machine and I'm entertained. And that is it. I don't want to go into my office, sit in a desk chair and strap in with my fucking keyboard and mouse, update my drivers, boot up my console, tell Spotify not to auto start because I'm here to play games. I'm not here to listen to music while I type up a Word document. Oh, now we're in Steam. Oh, there's an update for this game. Ooh, let me check out the Steam store sale. Oh, let me see. Oh, let me optimize this. Let me slide my FOV. Like, fuck off. That is not how video games are played. If that works for someone, good for you. But Jesse, you can just plug a computer up to your TV in the living room and be a fucking retard. No. They're different. Okay? I understand you're a fucking urbanite, urban city dwelling, hipster trash bag, and you insist that even though the U.S. has the worst public transportation, it's way trendier and cooler to take the train into work. But I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to take my pickup truck. Because even though it's actively destroying the future and obliterating the environment, it is so much nicer to get to and from work that way. And I don't even have any kids, so fuck the future. So Sam Carey, Jim Carey, Drew Barrymore, all you fucking Carey Berries, no more PC talk, okay? This is the Xbox On podcast. I'm aware that Xbox games have made their way onto PC. My people are looking into the matter. We're trying to do everything we can about this situation. But I'm going to play my video games exclusively on the TV and begrudgingly do PlayStation games on my PC because I don't want to buy a PlayStation. And that is that. I agree with the Nintendo Switch thing. I do think the Nintendo Switch is like the perfect secondary, like distant secondary device. And I'm glad I have mine, even though I haven't used it in like a year and a half. But thank you for writing in. Be good. God bless. Cargo Runner writes in and says, many new channels are thinking the Switch 2 will be expensive due to the rumored 8-inch screen. They are also suggesting the PS6 will be expensive if the PS5 Pro sells okay at $700. I think this could be creating a winning situation for Xbox, where the rumors are that the Series S has sold slightly more than the Series X. I think the rumors are that the Series S has sold a lot more than Series X, actually. Anyway, he said, in the next generation, the price gap between the new Series S and PS6 would be bigger. So the difference in visuals is getting smaller with each generation. So in the next gen, we may see hardcore gamers continue to migrate to PlayStation, where most gamers are, but we may see a much bigger number of more casual and price-sensitive gamers switch to Xbox next gen with Series S. So overall, a win for Xbox. I just don't see next gen Series X doing very well if Xbox Studio games are being released on PlayStation. So in the way they are more expensive console, in a way, the more expensive consoles become, the better the Series S price looks, and the better Xbox will do. I think Xbox handheld is a bonus cherry on top. I'm really looking forward to the reveal and seeing exactly what they decide to do with it. You know, Cargo Runner, I think you bring up a great point, and in theory, on paper, everything you're saying makes perfect sense. And I feel like if we were talking about like 2 or 3 console generations ago, this makes sense, right? The economy's a little rough everywhere in the world. The dollars are going a lot less far than they used to go, right? Everyone's kind of strapped for cash. Everything's gone up. Fuel, groceries, goods, services, everything's more expensive, right? And so if we're talking 3 or 4 generations ago, I feel like people would do the math. They'd be like, PlayStation's at $500 to $700 for a console, and Xbox is between $300 to $500 for a console. You know, PlayStation has this game and that game that people rant and rave about, but Xbox got some great games, and Game Pass is a great value, and $300 is a great way to get it on a modern hardware, or a modern console. And I don't really care about the biggest, most powerful version. I just care about the one that's going to play the games I want to play. And you would think that that would make Series S very competitive and put it in the marketplace in a situation where it would be really toe-to-toe with PlayStation 5. But I think in the past generation or two, Sony has achieved a status that very, very few companies enjoy. I'm talking about like Apple, Toyota. I'm trying to think of like who else, right? There are very few companies, to some extent Disney, you know? Like these kinds of companies where their brand is so powerful, it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter that there are Android phones that cost $250 that are just as powerful as an iPhone 14 and are pretty cool and even have features that the latest iPhone doesn't have. Nobody fucking cares. It doesn't matter, you know, what this animation studio puts out or what that theme park builds. There are Disney people out there, myself kind of somewhat one of them, where it's like, doesn't fucking matter. Disney's the best. I'm a Disney person, right? There are people out there when it comes to video games. It doesn't matter how much cheaper Xbox is. Doesn't matter how much value there is in Game Pass. Doesn't matter how many good games Xbox does have, despite the fact that Twitter tells you Xbox has no games. PlayStation's PlayStation. I'm going PlayStation. Fuck you. It's the only option. For some people, there are certain brands that's just like this brand or bust. And I think the biggest problem Xbox has had that hasn't gotten discussed, aside from the many issues that they have self-inflicted in recent years with Activision and with bringing the attention of higher-ups and everything, the biggest issue of Xbox, I think, aside from all that, is that PlayStation has become one of these brands where it doesn't fucking matter. I had a coworker recently, right? Last year, I talked about this anecdotally. Xbox guy all his life. His favorite games were Bethesda games. And I told him, hey, man, Xbox actually bought the team that makes all those like Fallout and Skyrim games and stuff. And, their new game is this game called Starfield. And that's going to be only on Xbox because now Xbox owns that game creator. And he was like, yeah, I know a little bit about them. I remember they make my favorite games. My favorite game of all time is Fallout, blah, 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 blah. So excited. I was like, yeah, man, well, good thing you play on Xbox One because when you get the Series S or Series X, you'll be able to play all their latest and greatest games now that they're part of the Xbox family. He goes, yeah, man. A month later, he comes up to me and goes, hey, man, I sold my Xbox One. I got a PS5 because that's what all my friends are on. It's just one of those things, man. It's just, again, obviously it's purely anecdotal, but like it's so indicative. It doesn't matter. Xbox had the game. Xbox had the price point. Xbox had the subscription service. They had everything. He was a legacy Xbox user. Everything. But PlayStation is the brand you buy if you don't want to be a stupid fucking Android green bubble. So you buy a PlayStation. I mean, it's just, I know more people this generation who gave up on Xbox and went to PlayStation than I knew last generation. And if you went off internet discourse alone, you would think that it was the other way around. You would think the Xbox One generation was the one where everyone jumped ship and went to PlayStation 4. And while that did happen a lot, it looks like it's happening to an even greater extent this generation. Doesn't matter what Xbox does. They're going to make good decisions and they're going to make bad decisions. But whatever happens, people are just going to go with PlayStation. So I'm not trying to sound so defeatist. I guess what I'm trying to say is I think Xbox is going to continue to thrive as a major publisher. I think Xbox is going to continue to exist as a platform to buy and play and stream games. But I think as a hardware manufacturer, Xbox is going to become a super niche option. And the only way that this can work for Xbox, the only way I see Xbox as a hardware brand continuing to exist well into the future is because Steam has proven that it can work as kind of like a side pet project with projects like the Steam Deck. And I could see a world where Xbox hardware persists, but it's kind of a side pet project like Steam Deck, where there's always going to be some Xbox console to buy, whether it's a handheld or console or one of each, or cheap one or an expensive one, whatever they decide to go with. There's always going to be an Xbox console, but it's going to be a side pet project. And the priority, the main focus of Xbox is going to be Game Pass and publishing really big tentpole games on everything they can put it on. Indiana Jones on PlayStation, Call of Duty on PlayStation, Minecraft natively on PlayStation, but not on Xbox, Halo on PlayStation, Gears of War, PlayStation, everything. Because they want to make money. They'll make money from the PlayStation consumers, and they'll make money from the Xbox consumers, not from Game Pass, because Game Pass is not profitable, but they'll make money from Xbox people who are willing to buy the console, who are willing to spend money in the ecosystem, and that will all be like the kind of niche side business they do. But their primary bread and butter is going to be selling $70 full price video games on all the platforms that don't have Game Pass. And they don't want to say it because Phil Spencer has no control of the wheel. At this point, Phil Spencer is a little kid with a Fisher-Price steering wheel who thinks he's driving. And in the seat next to him is Satya Nadella with an actual steering wheel going, "You're doing good, Philip. You're doing very good." And I think that's where we're at with Xbox. So what will they undercut PlayStation on price next generation? Maybe. Doesn't fucking matter. They could come out with a $230 box. They can come out with a $974 box. Doesn't matter what they price the next console as. Doesn't matter if it's the most powerful console. Doesn't matter if it's just okay. All I can tell you is people like my stupid ass are still going to buy it. And people like 99% of people are just going to go, on PlayStation, my friends play it. I don't want to be a green bubble on Android. And that's, I think, just kind of where we're at this point. And not to take like the responsibility away from Xbox, like they are responsible for a lot of their failures. But I do think from a brand perspective, PlayStation's just kind of reached a point they can't compete with anymore. All right, Cargo Runner, let's thank you for writing in. Let's move on to Javier Aguilera. It's really not that hard of a name, Jesse. Just stop fucking up. What's up, man? Oh, this is one of the goofy comments. This is one of the potentially, I can't tell if you're being serious comments. Probably shouldn't read this one, actually, to be honest. But here we go. Hi, Mr. Jesse. I'm a new podcast listener and was referred to this podcast by a friend who said this podcast is LGBT friendly. Now, me as an openly gay man, I just got an Xbox Series X after gargling and choking on this guy's big winky, which I did a good job at. Is there any games you can recommend with non-binary characters? So, I mean, that's definitely, that's the goofy one. That's the one my nephew saw and had a good laugh about because he was like, "Oh my God, are you serious?" Yeah, I mean, this is a troll comment. What do I do with this? Javier, state your intentions. I don't know. I don't mind you guys. Listen, here's the thing. I will say this. I don't mind if someone wants to write like a silly comment or a facetious comment or even a mean-spirited comment at my expense. That's fine. I don't care. You can tell me I'm like a man child, or I'm like overly sensitive or nostalgic, or tell me Xbox is dumb or my gaming preferences are stupid. I'm okay with all that. You could do that, but don't come in the podcast and like be like, ha ha ha, I'm laughing at that, because you gotta understand, it's like I don't know how to take this comment, because it's like maybe you're a serious fan of the podcast and you're just being a little silly and then I don't understand the joke. But there is also a lot of this like really silly toxicity in like the hardcore gaming space, unfortunately, where like there's a lot of these like, you know, people who are super overly sensitive, thinking that games are quote unquote woke, whatever the fuck that word even means anymore. And that like every game is like trying to push an agenda and trying to be gay and trying to do this and that. And it's like, those people are like, honest to God, probably the cringiest human beings in the gaming industry, or in the games sphere at all. You know, like, yeah, obviously there's some fucking people with, you know, socially progressive like beliefs in the games industry. It's a pretty accepting space for a lot of people with those kinds of ideals and values. But I don't know. I think people are making much ado about nothing, and there's a lot of like ignorance and like kind of just negative shit being thrown around the internet. And I don't really want to condone or support any of that shit on this podcast. So yeah, Javier, I don't know. I mean, feel free to write in if you're like, hey man, that's not what I meant, or this is what I was trying to say, or like it was just a joke. But like, I don't know, if you're just making some like kind of like games are woke kind of like silly boy comment, fuck off, I guess. I don't know, whatever. All right, Bob Dylan wrote in. Crazy. Bob Dylan's listening to this podcast. I always knew he was a fan. Hey, he says, hey, you should start supporting your subscribers, dude. Oh yeah, this is another one of the unhinged comments. I don't know what the fuck to make of this, but let's just read it because maybe you guys can make something of it. Hey, you should start supporting your subscribers, dude. I've been listening to your podcast for 5 years, and I think you should start game sharing or send us game digital through a code or physical through the mail. That's not fair that you get to brag about your newest games that you get to play when it releases, while I have to work a minimum wage and eat baked beans and Vienna sausage out of a can daily while sleeping on rented furniture. You don't understand because you've never been through what I was born in 81, so I come from a different era. I shouldn't have to tell you this because you should know to look out for the people who came before you. So either give me some games or I'm unsubscribing, kid. Okay. I don't even know what to make of that, but Bob Dylan, hope you get the help you need, Bob Dylan. Thank you for writing in. Ghost Jackson writes in and says, hey, what's on... Oh, all right, here's a normal comment from a human. All right. Hey, what's your take on GTA 4 Online? I feel like it's better than GTA 5 Online because there's no microtransactions and everyone's on an equal playing field, so you don't have to worry about losing just because someone's a higher rank than you. In Grand Theft Auto 5 Online, you either grind real hard or you spend real-life money just to stand a chance to play in equal playing fields, or else you look like a beginner getting spanked by another player because he's level 800. I'm going to be honest with you, Ghost Jackson. I appreciate you writing in. I appreciate this comment because you took the time to write it, and I know people have busy lives and they got things to do. I'm going to be honest, I don't know what I've ever said on this podcast that has led anyone to believe that I am a person who should ever be asked opinions or takes on Grand Theft Auto because I just don't have enough experience. I mean, the only Grand Theft Auto game I can really speak to on any real authority is like Vice City or 5. And even then, it's like all I did was beat the campaign and move on. I will say Grand Theft Auto 5 Online, I have no interest in that game because you have to like, there's like permadeath and car insurance and like gangs and stuff in that game. And I have no interest in any of that real simmy shit. So I'm just going to say Grand Theft Auto 4 is better because I know Grand Theft Auto 4 is more goofy and fun. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, Ghost Jackson. Again, I feel bad because you took the time to write in the comment. You took the time to listen. And, I mean, I appreciate that. Like that's, you're not obligated to do that by any stretch of the imagination. And I appreciate the engagement, but yeah, I can't help. Ask me a question about like Halo 3 versus Halo 5. Ask me a question about like Sonic 2 versus Sonic 3. I have opinions. I got takes for you, buddy boy. Grand Theft Auto? Might as well ask me for dating advice at that point. All right. Chris Cannon writes in and says, your avatar is almost the exact same as mine on the 360. Well, Chris, that's because I'm you from Earth 734. Don't you know that, Chris? Chris, don't you know that, Chris? God damn it, Chris. I thought you knew this. Thank you for writing in, Chris. Have a great week, Chris. All right. Objects in space. Here, this is a real one because I recognize this name. I know you've been here before. Hey, Jesse. More to comment from a couple weeks ago. Australia and other parts of the world being charged more than the U.S. equivalent for consoles has always bugged me, so I'm glad you covered it. They do this with games as well, and prices in the stores varies. Of course, our versions of GameStop charges the highest price. But on Xbox and PlayStation digital marketplaces, games are typically listed at 125 Australian dollars. That's equivalent to 85 US dollars. So you'd think that being digital, there's no shipping cost or import taxes, etc. I never understood how they justify it. I still buy physical versions because they're a little cheaper, which sucks because I love the convenience of digital games. So, well, I know that generally a digital game wouldn't be cheaper than a physical game as to protect the brick and mortar retailers. Like a lot of people in the US, for example, will be like, why is a game $70 digitally and $70 at Walmart when it could just be like $70 at Walmart and then like $65 on digital, because they don't have to package it or ship it or sell a physical good. And, they can cut down on the cost and draw more people to digital, where, Xbox or PlayStation, whoever, would make a lot more of a percentage of the profit off of the game. And the reason they have pricing parity between like digital and physical is to protect their relationships with brick and mortar retailers, because they don't want to piss off GameStop and Best Buy and Target and Walmart, because those are the places that sell their consoles and sell their controllers and sell their subscription cards and all their other stuff. And they want to have that shelf space, and they want to keep that relationship strong and going. And they also want to serve that small, dwindling market of people that do prefer physical games. And so they maintain price parity to keep that relationship in good standing, and and be able to service both digital and physical markets. So that is the conventional wisdom behind why that happens. But in the case of what you're saying, Objects in Space, you're suggesting that in Australia, video games are not only more expensive digitally in Australia than they are in the US, but on top of that, they're also more expensive physically than they are digitally in Australia. So it's like double more expensive than what we deal with here in the US. I don't know jack shit about any laws, regulations, or things in the Australian market. So my guess, I don't know, maybe there are some like government imposed like tariffs or policies or something to protect physical retail establishments that require these like digital storefronts to, I wonder if it's like maybe some kind of like, legislation or tariff or system that's in place to protect physical establishments and brick and mortar stores by charging more for digital, as not to discourage people from buying physical. And in doing so, it's like, you pay more digitally because you're paying a convenience tax. Whereas if you buy it from a brick and mortar store, you get a cheaper price because, then you're supporting your local retailer. That's the only thing I can think of, is just some kind of like system that makes it more expensive, or that some kind of system from a government standpoint that makes, the platform holder have to make digital more expensive as opposed to as a way to protect the physical retail outlets. But that's the only thing I can think of, and I don't know that that's even true. I should have done some research in order to answer your question, Objects in Space. I came unprepared, and for that reason I apologize, because you took the time to write this question thoughtfully and to listen, and I appreciate that. And I didn't take the time to come back with a more thoughtful and well-researched answer. And so for that, I apologize, Objects in Space. But it's crazy. I feel for, the listeners in Australia and the UK, these other really big Xbox territories where you guys just kind of get fucked on pricing for everything, for God knows what reason. The only thing I know is that the US is a very, very important region for these manufacturers, not because the US is more important, but because obviously population, and just because there's more of a direct competition between PlayStation and Xbox in a lot of these, in like the US territory, US, Canada, North America. And so there's a lot more of this, like, these companies get more competitive with one another because Xbox actually does pretty well in the US, and so they have to get more competitive with PlayStation, and PlayStation's rivalry with Xbox is only really strongly felt in territories like the US, so they have to be more competitive here as well. And so that's really the only other thing I can think of, is that we usually benefit from that competition a little bit more here than we do elsewhere, because in a lot of other territories it's just plain and simple Nintendo and PlayStation dominate, and Xbox is just kind of like this thing that's there, but it's not particularly, although I know Xbox is popular, especially in Australia, it's just, relative. It's, to the country's population and the popularity of the PlayStation, everything. It's just not the same story. But I don't know. I don't know the answer, and I apologize. So Objects in Space, thank you for writing in. Thank you for being the only, if I look down into space and there are an abundance of objects and you were among those objects, I would notice you in a crowd of other objects, and I would say that is an object in space that I'm drawn to. That's an object in space that I look at and I go, it's a fine ass object right there. That's what that is. So thank you for writing in. Be well. Have a great week. Alfonso writes in and says, I am not sure there will be a next Xbox. Maybe there will be something called Xbox, but it'll lack something very important, and it won't be such a huge thing as it is now or as it used to be. Maybe. I mean, we've had that conversation a million times. We can speculate all day. It's possible. I really, truly believe we're going to get at least one more hardware round for Xbox because they're actively R&Ding it. They keep promising it, and we know that, as the rumors suggest, we are less than 2 years away from getting that hardware. So I would be shocked if we're not going to get another round of Xbox hardware. But beyond that, oh yeah, I could see the speculation in the lack of assurance and confidence in that for sure. I feel pretty confident that we're good for one more round, though. Alfonso, thank you for writing in. Have a great week. Mr. Monster Man, are we 100% sure that there will be a next Xbox at retail and it won't pretty much just be an app on your laptop? Mr. Monster Man, same response I just gave. Thank you for writing in. Have a great week. Danny Z9 says, who cares? Oh, this is one of those fun comments. I love this. I think this is a troll comment, but I love this. It says, who cares? MS, assumedly means Microsoft. You said MS, but the S is a $sign. MS would have to pay me to put that spyware machine in my house. I love that. I love that so much. Microsoft would have to pay me to put that spyware machine in my house. Dude, I fucking love that shit so much. I wish I just had like enough. I don't know. I like to think that people are having fun with that stuff, but I'm like, I don't know. You're probably pretty miserable if you're doing that shit. Where it's like, I don't know, like I'm on YouTube, and YouTube somewhere in the algorithm is just like, hey Jesse, here's a makeup tutorial video, and I'm like, I hate makeup tutorials, and then I click on the video, and I'm like, I would never give Mac or Sephora my money for this slut paint, stupid whore, and then click off and just leave that negative comment and be like, I nailed it. I'm gonna go back to watching. Fucking, I don't know. What do people watch on YouTube? I'm going to go back to watching iDubbbz now. I don't fucking know. Danny Z, they're spying on you, man. They're spying. And Microsoft's in your fucking toilet bowl, dude. They know your asshole inside out. That's all I got to say about that. Mr. Sarcastic writes in and says, lol. Oh, this is my other favorite comment. Lol, they believe there's going to be a next Xbox. This is my favorite one because it's like this insinuates that either the person thinks I'm non-binary and referred to me as they, which that's fine. I don't care. Or two, and more accurately, more probable, the person saw my video get recommended on their YouTube feed, read the title of the podcast. It said something about what's the price of the next Xbox going to be, and said, this is an Xbox podcast where the panel of hosts believes there will be another Xbox. Well, I have news for them. As someone who recently secured a pre-order for a PlayStation 5 Pro and or a PC with a graphics card installed in it, I'm going to leave a comment and tell this person that I don't think there will even be a next Xbox. Game over for Xbox. Xbox, it is over. You might as well go home to your mother, Xbox. And that is what this man thought. And he clicked on my podcast and he left this comment, listened to 0 fucking seconds of the show, and then bounced. But little do you know, Mr. Sarcastic, it is grammatically incorrect to say LOL. They believe there's going to be an Xbox because this podcast is about one console, hosted by one host, about French toast. Fuck you. I'm one man. I'm one lone human being. There is no they. It is just me. You could say, he believes there's going to be an Xbox? What a loser. But you didn't say that. And now you look like a loser. Mr. Sarcastic 8833. Your mother had to have 8,832 other children just to get you. And you're still a disappointment. You fucking silly boy. All right, bye. Have a great weekend. William Defoe. No, not Will Defoe. William Fontanez wrote in. Thank you, William Fontanez. Says, I just love this podcast, man. You remind me so much of Jim Carrey, especially Ace Ventura, because you just are so hyperactive and say the most random things. I feel like I'm listening to an autistic schizophrenic man talk to himself because you're just by yourself with this podcast, and I would just pay money to see you angry or getting yelled at in person just to see how you react, because I love to laugh at people's pain. But have you ever thought about getting into comedy or being a comedian actor? Because you're just naturally funny. Like, I can totally just picture you outside the podcast, barefoot, just wearing tight black jeans with no shirt, walking around Disney World like you're dizzy, yelling like a crazy person. All right, I'm be honest. First of all, William, can I call you Will? Thank you for writing in. Genuinely, the first half of this comment, genuinely top 5 kindest comments I've ever received on the podcast. Assuming you're being sincere, I genuinely appreciate it. Thank you for writing in. Thank you for the kind words. To the latter half of your comment, the image of me walking around Walt Disney World like I'm dizzy, yelling at people, barefoot with no shirt on and tight black skinny jeans. I'm going to call the cops on myself in this. That is the most I don't even know why that's so disturbing, because at least, thank God, I'm wearing pants in this image, so it's not like I'm fucking exposing myself to 8.6 trillion Brazilians on vacation. But like, holy goddamn shitballs. Like, do you think that's me, dude? Let me paint the picture a little clearer for you. I only wear one type of shoes, Vans. So I'm wearing Vans, no barefoot, Vans. Okay? And I almost exclusively, I would say like 60% of my wardrobe of like my shirts and tops, Hot Wheels shirts. Just all Hot Wheels shirts. Black skinny jeans, you nailed it. But imagine a Hot Wheels t-shirt, Vans, skinny jeans, maybe a hat. All right, being dizzy and autistic and schizophrenic at Disney World, that's fine. I can do all those things. I've done them before. I'll do them again. But barefoot and shirtless? You think I'm a fucking hillbilly, William? Is that what you think? Thank you for writing in, William. Hope you have a great week. I appreciate your kind words. Appreciate your comment. And 5 stars, please, and thank you. Anthony Jerry wrote in and says, I told you, we got so many fucking comments. We're on the home stretch, though. I think we only got like 4 more. Anthony says, gaming this generation is great despite... Oh, this is actually I should have put this at the top. Anthony, I'm glad you wrote in about this. And you've written in before, too. So this isn't like the first time. Anyway, who gives a shit? Let's just read it. Gaming this generation is great despite you and other doom and gloomers. And the sky is falling worrywarts. And want to talk about... You're just stuck in the past. It's guys like you that want to badmouth gaming, but when I turn on the mic and play online with headphones on, it's live and thrilling, and you can hear kids having fun. Nostalgia is for people who want to reflect on the glory days, so keep that to yourself. No different than the 40-year-olds still talking about how great they were in high school. You basically peaked in gaming, so go play on your 1946 consoles. I bet those 7 FPS games will be fun for you, lol. Okay, no, maybe I just recognized your name because I read this comment like 100 times. I had to show this to my my nephew and my brother this weekend when I was in Missouri because it's so funny. Let me read that last part because it's so good. You said, nostalgia is for people who want to reflect on the glory days, so keep that to yourself. No different than the 40-year-old still talking about how great high school was. You basically peaked in gaming, so go play. This is my favorite. I love how it's like you could have killed me by just saying like, you basically peaked already, but you said I peaked in gaming, which I love so much, as if like my identity as a gamer, as like a person who enjoys gaming as a recreational activity, is like so essential to my core identity as a human. That, like, you insulted me by saying I peaked in gaming. I love that fucking comment so much. Anthony, thank you for writing in. This is one of the most absolutely disconnected and unhinged comments I've ever received on the podcast. I mean that with all due respect, of which I'm not sure how much respect I owe you. But in any case, you're free to have this opinion of me, and you're free to write in the podcast and say this. It's totally fine. I just got to say, I know I can be... a little, I can definitely be sentimental and nostalgic, no doubt about it. I'm very much a sensitive person. I'm very much emotional. I'm very much deeply connected to my nostalgia and and the things I miss. No doubt about that. Call me out on that all day long. You'd be right to do so. Now, as far as doom and gloomer, hating modern gaming, bad-mouthing gaming today, all these things, gaming is dead. I don't know what podcast you're listening to that you feel like I feel that way. I don't know how you could extrapolate like that is Jesse's perception of gaming in 2024. Gaming is fucking phenomenal. Gaming hardware is great. All the consoles on the market right now are great. Gaming on a PC is great for people who want that experience. Handheld gaming is back from the dead and better than ever before. Gaming's in a great, great place. And I don't know if I've gone a single week in all 278 fucking episodes of this podcast where I haven't gone, there are just too many games to play, too many good games. My backlog is so full. Oh my God, if only I had the time. Because I love video games. I love the games we're getting right now. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, I'm very nostalgic for N64 and GameCube and OG Xbox and 360 and Nintendo Wii and those consoles that I grew up with when I was a kid because, yeah, sometimes I wish I could crawl into a fetal position and be a kid again. But Xbox One was fucking phenomenal. Xbox Series X is phenomenal. I love video games. I'm really excited to be done with this podcast so I can hopefully go play Marvel Midnight Suns, a game that's not even 2 years old because it seems like a really good game. So yeah, I mean, I definitely have my fair share of criticism about every fucking indie game trying to be a Metroidvania and every fucking AAA game trying to be a live service, open world, Souls-like, roguelite, Metroidvania. Like, yeah, I'm a little annoyed by some of the trends in gaming and the fact that everyone's just chasing the Fortnite rainbow. Like, yeah, there are things about gaming I don't love, but hey, as someone who plays every fucking year's Call of Duty and still loves it, yeah, I hear kids on the mic too, and yeah, I think it's widely accepted that the majority of people who play video games enjoy video games. I think it's also widely accepted that gaming is bigger than it's ever been before. So yeah, I know gaming is alive and well, and it's better than it's ever been. Doesn't mean I can't be a little, you're so triste because I miss Tobey Maguire in a Spider-Man costume, and I miss fucking the Game Boy Advance, and I miss not having a driver's license, so I don't have to worry about commuting. Yeah, like it's okay. I can have my cake and eat it too, man. I'm gonna go play Xbox Series S and be nostalgic for Spice Girls or whatever the fuck it is I miss. So, Anthony Jerry, are you a little? I think you're a little out of line with this comment. If I'm being completely honest, it's within your right to make this comment. That's fine. Thank you for writing in nonetheless. Alfonso comes back from the dead and he responds to you and says, "I agree with your sentiment, but you went way too far." Alfonso, this is why I know you have a medically safe but unusually large penis. That is what I know about you because of your response. Look at Alfonso. He said you went too far. Ha! I win. Sam Frito responds as well and says, "Gaming is great all generations. Realistically, it is a cake. We can keep eating without getting fat. But we complain we shouldn't eat too much. But we do, and then we bitch." At Betty Crocker. Yeah, true. I don't like Sam Frito because he's smart. He says things that make my brain hurt because I don't like that. Stop making me think, Sam Frito. Say good or bad. Don't make me think. I don't know. Whatever. Anthony, thank you for writing in. Have a great week. Be good. And if you live in a state that has access to Whataburger, I'm gonna recommend you go to Sonic because I do think it's a little better. Oh, one thing I'll say about Missouri: didn't see a single Del Taco there. You fucking kidding me? Get it together, Missouri. All right. I think this is this is the last unknown write-in. No, not unknown. Angie's written in a couple weeks in a row now. All right. We got Angie, Cronky, and then, of course, we wrap up with Headhunting Halo. So Angie says, "My response to you saying Xbox 360 games don't look next-gen is that I said some of the games on Xbox 360, not all of them, and a lot of games this generation still run at 30 to 60 FPS. And games in the 360 generation were still releasing during the 2010s, in which society was technologically advanced. So games like Forza Motorsport 4, Ninja Gaiden 3, Naruto Shippuden, Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm generation still look next gen. So what's the difference between the Naruto game I just stated at the latest Naruto? What? What's the difference between the Naruto game I just started and the latest Naruto game? Nothing exactly, lol. And if we talk about movies, for example, there's no difference graphically between Creed 1 and Creed 3. There's an 8-year difference because one came out in 2015, the other came out in 2023. And you can't say the same thing about Rocky 1 graphics and Rocky 6 graphics. The only game to really blow me away this generation is The Last of Us Part 2. Can't wait for Grand Theft Auto 6, though. Well, yeah, but I think you're missing the forest for the trees a little bit, Angie, because while you make somewhat of a decent point, I think, listen, your example about movies, taken, okay? Not the movie Taken, but like the point is taken. But your point about video games, like from 360 to Xbox One to Xbox Series X, I don't know, man. I look at like Naruto Shippuden, I look at Forza Motorsport, and I compare them to like the latest entries in these games today. They look graphically improved, but the reason I say you're missing the forest for the trees, in my opinion, isn't because graphics. It's because the thing that's making these platforms next generation is what they're doing behind the scenes under the hood. It's about the lighting systems and all that. So from a visual standpoint, yeah, it's about like lighting fidelity in like whatever, all the fucking ray tracing and shit. So like there's that aspect to it. But the bigger thing is having the processing power and the power to load games faster and to build bigger worlds. So in an Xbox 360 game, you can't really have an open world with like a million enemies all running around it and then control a character and keep a smooth frame rate. But in the PS4 generation, we got Days Gone, right? By Sony Bend. That's a game where you run around on a motorcycle and a horde of zombies can chase you, and the game maintains its frame rate and holds it together while you play around in an open world. That's something an Xbox 360 couldn't handle because it's just too much processing power to have all these enemies on the screen at the same time doing all this shit while the player plays and keeping the fucking graphics nice and the frame rate solid and all that. And so a lot of what we're getting with the newer generation, it's not just generally like, oh, the graphics are nicer, but it's like we have sophisticated lighting systems, we have ray tracing, we have AI techniques, we have more processing power, we can load games faster, we can get more enemies on screen, we can have the game remember things better with more RAM. Remember how like last year when Starfield came out, everyone was like really impressed with that, like that trick they did where it's like you can collect all the sandwiches like throughout the game, and every time you collect a sandwich you drop it in your spaceship, and then like after like 150 hours of playing the game you can have like every sandwich you've ever found on every planet in the game stored up in your spaceship, and the game remembers all those sandwiches laying around your spaceship. It's like, that's impressive. It takes a really sophisticated, powerful console with sufficient RAM and other technologies that I'm not smart enough to know about in order to be able to remember and have the ability to do those things. In an Xbox 360 game, you probably couldn't have those kinds of techniques and tools and tricks pulled off because those consoles just weren't powerful enough. So it's not just about the graphics. It's not just about how the game looks on face value. It's also about the advancements, like how big the world can get, how dynamic the world can get, how fast the game can load, how seamless transitions from place to place can look and feel, and in doing so make your games feel more cinematic, more realistic, more next level and all that. So it's not just how pretty are the graphics. So that's all I mean by forest for the trees. But listen, man, I'm with you, Angie, for the most part. I think games kind of reached their peak in the Xbox 360's generation just because for my preferences, I love that Xbox 360 was a lot of really good looking, but not like so good that they cost $200-400 million to make. Games that were like 8 to 10 hours, tight, mechanically driven, action venture, shooter, third-person shooter, racing, adventure, story-driven. Like not so story-driven that the game is mostly relying on storytelling like Last of Us, but not so gameplay driven that there's nothing going on to get attached to like a fucking NES game. And I feel like the Xbox 360 was this perfect era where, yeah, we had DLC, but the DLC was usually really thoughtful and creative and exciting. And yeah, we had games that were online, but the online was usually either pretty thoughtful or there's kind of this like afterthought secondary thing you could ignore if you weren't into it. But for the most part, the games we got were like really fun, mechanically driven, 10-hour like experience this game, enjoy this game, move on with your life. Whereas games today are like, the game doesn't fucking work because it's just too ambitious and it costs a trillion fucking dollars, and now the team is out of business because they made this game and it was too expensive and it didn't sell enough. And also it's based on this license, and also China's funding it, and also it's a live service, and also after the first 2 months we're gonna fuck the tone of the game, and you're gonna have to buy all the Nicki Minaj skins in order to enjoy any of the gameplay. And also, if you want to be good at the game, you gotta follow this YouTuber because he can teach you all the exploits to make the game fun to play. And also, you should play it on the PC, because on the PC you get more Twitch aim speed, which makes you better than everyone else, so it's less fun for Xbox players. It's like all this shit piles up, and it's like, that's where some of my sentiment about, like, I don't like where we've headed with games. It doesn't mean I don't like games. It doesn't mean I don't find shit tons of modern games that are fucking flooring me with how great they are. Tons of them. But, you know, I'm with you. I love the Xbox 360 generation. It's a great time for gaming. So thank you for writing in. Angie, you be well. Take care. Have a great week. And Cronky is going to start wrapping us up. He says, I got the casting of Frank Stone out of loyalty for Supermassive. I purchased the casting of Frank Stone. I like Dead by Daylight, but I've probably played it about 5 to 10 hours over like 5 years. So I'm not a huge fan. Anyway, holy cow, this game's amazing. I love Supermassive, and this is one of their best. Absolutely adore it. It's totally a sleeper hit, but if you want to play an interactive B-tier horror movie with some Dead by Daylight sauce on the side, try it. I'll take your word for it, but I'm not paying full price for this game. Not because I don't think it's worth full price, but because I have my work cut out. There's so much shit to play. Again, because gaming is so good right now, there's so much good shit to play. I just don't have time for this on top of everything else. I already have my Halloween games picked out, which we'll get into in a little bit as we lead into December, or October rather, more. But I'm glad you like it. I haven't really followed anything about it. I feel like this game just kind of came out and I didn't pay attention to anything about it, but I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad for Supermassive. It looks like they got a hit on their hands with that, at least from your perspective. So good shit. And finally, we wrap up the podcast with the last but not least, the headhunting Halo, the boy, the man, the legend and the myth, who says, I have a funny feeling the new Xbox will start at $600, but they can make cheaper versions just like they did with Series X with the Series S. I feel like Microsoft isn't as money hungry as Sony is. I mean, they're up there with the controllers by $5. They up their controllers by $5, and the monthly plan is kind of steep, especially for the crappy catalog they put out. Astrobot, though, Astrobot, best PlayStation game I played in a long time. Yeah, my thought is that with the next Xbox, as they lean more into like a boutique kind of thing where the console isn't really important, it's just there for those who want it, but it's not like their bread and butter. My sensibility is they'll actually lean more into the thing that PlayStation's doing and say, yeah, $700, because it doesn't make a lot of sense for us to R&D hardware and build it and put it on the market if we're not going to make money off of it, because we know we're not going to sell 60, 80, 100 million units of this hardware. So we'd rather sell as few, like if we're only going to sell a few of them, we'd rather make some money off it to justify the existence of it. So for that reason, I kind of feel like the next Xbox might be more expensive, but I'm with you. I have a hunch that it's also $600. I don't think they're going to gun for $700. I feel like that's Sony's mistake to make, but who knows? Honestly, I don't think anyone fucking knows at this point, but we'll find out probably in 1 to 2 years. So Headhunting Halo, thank you for writing in. Thank you. Hope you have a great week. And guys, I'm tired. My voice is shot. So I'm going to wrap it up, head out of here. But thank you all for listening to the Xbox On podcast. Maybe this will, I doubt this week will be one of those weeks. So we should be good. Next week, probably just people who actually listen to the podcast writing in. But if we get any more drive-by commenters, we'll make the most of it, because I don't know, I have fun with them at least. Just don't be like homophobic or racist or anything like that. But like, feel free to have fun, say something silly. I don't care. Anyway, guys, be good. Have a great week. Be safe. Take care. I love you. No, you hang up. No, you hang up. Power your dreams.